Morning. Good morning. Is it Shirley?
Blessed morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hi,
I'm sorry I'm late.
Hi.
I was trying
No,
to get on. I
it's
had
not morning here,
technical
ma'am.
problems.
Good
Huh?
evening. Good evening here in the Philippines.
Yeah. Oh, we had technical problems. That's why it's late. Sorry.
Yes.
Hey, Mike. Oh, look at you,
Hello,
Mike.
Doc.
Got you the new background.
Yes, Doc. I'm using it now. Later,
Let me see if
I'm
I
going
can.
to message Doc. I will send
Yeah.
a message to the group, Doc.
Okay. Well, how about make host?
Doc, kindly
Yep. I'm having you. I got you now, Mike.
okay, Doc.
Okay.
Because some of them are messaging. They are still waiting.
Recording already. Last time
You're recording.
it wasn't like where the screen, the person talking needs to occupy the whole screen. Now, what did you do there? Did you have to do something with the screen? It wasn't like
Yeah,
that
Doc.
before. It was little still.
You just click the view button, on the right side of the screen, the 6 that's there.
Uh-huh. Oh, you have to change that then because you are host. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I look for a different background now because my what I'm wearing is too conflicting with the colors there. So I needed something that's more clear. Anyway. Yeah, the background there looks nice, huh, Mike?
Yes, Doc.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Let me see if I can. I might just cut camouflage there.
I'm thinking I'm just using which one, the white one, I think one or gray, and this one's the yellow one. So I rather choose the yellow one.
I'm trying to play with mine too. I have so many different ones that I had found. All right, good morning, everyone. There's not very many today, I guess because we're late. We're late starting.
Yeah, I think some of them are commenting in our group in our GC that they cannot connect. I think
they can't get
I
in.
don't know
Yeah.
why.
Well, I had technical issues, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, maybe also they have poor internet connection. That's the reason why.
Yeah. All right, I'll be right back. I need to go ahead and welcome them, Mike, because I'm gonna have to go get my coffee, okay?
Hi, Sir Mike. I think
Hello
they
po.
cannot join. I think they cannot join kasi yung ginamit nila is yung, di ba dalawa yung parang link na sinend? They send that,
I think so po.
Yeah. Because I tried the other one, the last one, and I also cannot join. And I also click the first one. So here, you can join. Like,
I think so. Okay.
Yeah.
Just try the link.
I think parang sa signal din po, Sir Mike, kasi
Yeah, I
link
think
lang
so
naman
po.
po nang ako
Because
nakapasok
maybe,
po ako ngayon lang po.
correct po. Kasi nagkuhan nga din po eh. I will bump this po in our group. Hello po. Good afternoon.
Hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening here in the Philippines.
Good evening, Raya. Good evening there in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Good morning in the US.
It's
the
raining
Philippines, yeah, I
here.
think.
Where's my cam?
Yes, that's the reason why some of them, I think, having their problem. Yeah, now, I think, yeah, Doc LB now is here. I think they use the other link, Ma'am Eden. You're correct.
Yes
Maybe
po.
they're just,
Yeah, dalawa kasi yung link na na-send.
yeah. Good evening, Doc Elvin.
Hello.
Hello, Doc.
Hello. Hey,
Yeah.
welcome everybody.
Merlina is there.
Good
Hey.
evening
Morning po.
Good
and good
evening.
morning,
I
everyone.
apologize for being late. I had some issues with my internet, so I just got on. But anyway, so. Oh, I love the ones at the background that you use, guys. I like the gold and the silver. Look at that. So cute. Did you send it to everybody, Mike, on the messenger, I guess?
Yes, Doc. I sent it in our GC.
Okay. All right. So there are about more than a dozen of us. So that's good. 14 so far. Okay. So I see Adine, I remember you, Sinando. Girl is back. Yeah, Dr. Elvin. Of course, Mike, thank you for being co-host with me. And we have new ones. We have Marissa, you were here last time. Maria Teresa, thank you for coming back. Shirley is new. Louisa.
Yes, Doc. We have
we have a few new ones. So
new
yeah, I would like to start talking with the new ones. I know Mike's gonna
Yes,
let the rest in, but let me start talking to Shirley. Shirley, I just remembered adding your name. You want to turn on your camera for us? Is that Shirley? Where's Shirley? Did she disappear? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I just admitted her again.
Let me see. I'm just going to the screen here. Oh, there's Shirley. You have problems with your problems with your screen? Yeah, there you are.
Yes.
There
Yes,
you
ma'am.
are.
Good afternoon. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning there. Good evening here. I have, you know, the problem of the connection here in the Philippines. It's very, we really have a poor connections, even though we try to have 2 years of online classes since pandemic, but we were able to survive to teach our public school students, most especially in the public schools. But nowadays, we are turning into a normal of doing it inside the classroom. So I'm very sorry, Doc, if I have a very poor signal right now.
No, you're good. You're sounding good right now. Where are you from?
Oh, I am from Marikina City. Marikina, yes, Philippines.
Okay, I was thinking you're close to Manila. I figured your reception would be better than out in the province.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm living in the National Capital Region.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us about yourself and what got you. How did you know about us, about ITSA?
All right, ma'am. One of my best friends in the public schools, we were connected for almost 15 years already. And he is Sir Ernest Montenegro.
Okay. Well,
we were trainers. Yes, ma'am. Actually, we always talk. He's always convincing me to teach in abroad because I've been teaching in the public school for almost 14 years already. Okay. We were together. We worked together. We trained students to different contests. We always have our demonstration teaching. In every time that we have a demo festival in the National Capital Regions dealing with the strategies and techniques in mathematics in order for the teachers to know what is the updated strategies, what will be our new style of teaching mathematics in the 21st century. So as of the moment, I know I just want to share to you, Doc, that one of my dreams is really to teach abroad. I have 2 kids right now. I am married already, if given a chance to work there, why not? Not only to share my expertise in. I know I'm not. I really know that I am not that great teacher who will handle the other races, but teacher is being a teacher. You should be passionate enough of what to do, and you should be always accept challenges. Okay, whenever you are teaching a different race, okay, and I am very excited to mingle those students, most especially when Ernest is always sharing his experience about dealing with the students with different races like that.
You might want to say use the word children in diverse cultures instead of diverse cultures.
Yes, Doc.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
Doc.
yeah, and I don't think you should say something about I am not good at teaching them. You might want to say, I need more experience. If you want to do that, that might sound more positive instead of like you putting yourself down. Okay. So yeah, well, that's good. When you introduce yourself to a panel of interviewees here, administrators, you don't have to include personal things. Like you don't have to say how many kids you have, you're married or anything. Those are information they do not need to know. And if they do ask that, it's actually supposed to be illegal because you do not need to be discriminated on the basis of what you said you share on personal, but that doesn't stop people from asking because they want to know more about you. But a lot of times you just need to include your professional information. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, you did well. Just remember not to kind of put anything down about you. Don't do anything negative. Just be positive always. You want to grow. You want to learn about another culture, and you want to.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what you can do. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for attending. Okay, Layla, I have Saban. I have filled out a reference form for you this already. So good luck on that. And so Marissa, I talked to. Okay, about Clark Lima. Clark, you're new. You mind turning on your camera for us?
Good evening, everyone. Good morning there, Doc. Well, I'm from Singapore. I'm currently working as senior preschool teacher here. I'm working in an inclusive preschool here in Singapore, and yeah, I'm here because my friend. Actually, I'm looking for another country to work and live and migrate. I'm actually trying also in New Zealand. I'm already in the process. Already passed PTE there. I'm just waiting for a teacher council. But since I have a problem with my qualification because it doesn't meet their level 7. So I'm trying out another pathway. But yeah, so I'm also like to listen for the opportunity that I can have here as well. Okay. Since I have the American dream too.
Okay. Well, you might want to you want to start with your name, right? And then you want to say what degree you have, what you have received, and how many years of experience you have. And do not tell them that you're also trying to process it for another country, because that makes it sound like they're not your priority. Like, I'm just gonna get you if the other one did not, your plan B for me. Okay, I don't ever want anybody to make you feel like they're plan B or C for you, okay? So, yeah.
Actually, I don't have any idea about the setup here. I just came here to actually listen only. But yeah, thank you so much for that information. Well, everyone, I'm Clark Lima. I finished Bachelor in Elementary Education, major in preschool education. Well, I have 2 years experience in Philippines, teaching primary 1 to primary 6. And then here in Singapore, I have 4 years, going 5, experience teaching 0 to 6 years old. Yeah.
Good job. Yeah. And then end it with like, I want to teach in the US because, or whatever. Sometimes some people would even add about like, I went into teaching because I've always loved children, or whatever it is that your reason. Okay. All right. Yeah. Not bad. Very fluent. So yeah, those information they would need. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
And how about Eloisa Sambo? Do you want to talk to us, Eloisa? Hello, everybody else. Do you mind turning on your cameras, unless you just can't, because it's really nice to see your beautiful faces. Beautiful and sleepy faces, maybe. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Now, who else are you talking to? Eloisa, go ahead and talk to us, please. I want you to do the introduction and we can get started.
I already joined the Zoom meeting first time last Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
Everyone,
coming back.
I am Eloisa Arsambo. I have been teaching for all, wait, look, okay. I have been teaching for almost 11 years in public school and private school. Before it was 2 years in private school and almost 10 years in public school. And, you know, I love teaching because it always makes me feel young. You know, the trends of the learners, their, you know, I always feel young. I don't know, I don't feel like I'm 33. Like I feel teens whenever I'm with them. I don't know, it's just my feelings. That's why I love teaching, especially high school students.
Okay.
Yes.
Always avoid telling them your age. Okay, you don't want to be discriminated because of your age. Okay, but that's good that you said you love teaching, but it's about you making young, but at the same time, you need to also say something about the students. It's not about you, but it's about the students. So, I mean, it's good that you include that, but try to put the student reason first, okay? Because my students make me feel like I'm, you know, I'm still in my 20s or my whatever, you know, whatever it is. But always try to do students first. Always doing that. When you're answering any questions, always try to put students info or reason connecting to students first, okay? But not bad at all. Yeah, Jennifer, were you here last time? I don't remember. Oh, you have to unmute yourself first.
Good evening, Do.
Good evening.
This is my first time because of our action here. So this is my first get in the Zoom meeting. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for attending. Can you tell us about yourself? This is always, and I've warned you that when you come in, I've always wanted to know about you. And it's also at the same time, I double practice for you whenever you interview here in America or anywhere. They always ask you, tell us about you, or sometimes they would say something about, tell us about your journey. You know, your journey from, you know, from getting into education to now. And then you can tell them about yourself. So go ahead and tell us, Jennifer, if you don't mind.
Okay, good evening. I'm Jennifer Villanueva from the Philippines, Zamboanga City, Philippines. And I finished my bachelor's degree at the Western Mindanao State University, and also I completed the complete academic requirements in Masters of Arts in Education, major in Special Education with developmental and giftedness as a field of specialization. At present, now, I am 28 years in service. I served the Department of Education for almost 28 years in service, 19 years in the General Education Program, then 9 years now. From 2013, I am in the Special Education Program. At present, I'm handling learners with autism. But before that, from 2013, I handled learners with visually impaired, those with multi-disability, visually impaired with autism. But I also have visually impaired learners who are now in the grade 11. They finish their elementary or the primary in our school with me. Then after that, by 2000, recently, that is during pandemic, I handled learners with autism. But during that time, that we only distributed module. But this is the first time that this is my first time to handle this autism. This is my first time, but I think I can handle them. This is my first year. So I have 5 with autism.
All right. Now you need to include the 2 important things about why did you go into education and why did you want to teach in the US? If you don't mind to add that, because you can even include your teaching philosophy. What do you believe about teaching? Any of those?
I love teaching because I want to make a difference in the child's life, because I handle that 19 years in the regular program. I handled learners in the learners in grader 1.
In first grade.
Grader 1.
In first grade?
Yes.
First grade.
Yes.
Okay.
Grade first grade. So that's why I really want to make a difference in a child's life, especially those learners who come from a very a child who is from the very poor family. They come to school without even pencil, ball pens. Then they need attention. They need love of their parents, and sometimes their parents are very busy. So in school, we always show them that all their interests are our interests too, so that we can build good relationship with the learners. That's all.
Not bad, not bad. If you have here in America, how you're getting paid is that they have a base pay, right? And then if you have your master's, that's additional, usually $3,000-4,000, sometimes $5,000. And then when you have your specialist at another more like that, and then it's another line for doctorate, right? So they are going to pay you more every year because of your experience. So if you have more than 20 years, you might not want to say 29, the exact one, just say, about 20 years or 20 plus years. I would say that, don't lie, but just say 20 plus years, because as a former administrators, I'm going to be thinking about, okay, how much money are we going to pay for this teacher? Because every year experience is worth about $600 more than the other. So if you have 20 years, you're actually $12,000 more to pay you over a new one. Okay, and you're gonna have ding 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 in their head. They're gonna be looking at, okay, maybe we should hire somebody that has less experience. So I would just say 20 plus years instead of actually saying I have 29 or whatever it is. And it also kind of tell them your age too. That's the other reason that you don't want to really say exact, because you don't want them to discriminate anybody, like, oh, we want somebody young because this person has lots of experience, or this person is either very expensive, and also they might want somebody that's kind of younger generation. So you don't want that. Okay. All right. But not bad introduction. I like that. I can tell that it's obvious that you really enjoy teaching the students with special ed or special needs. They call that here special needs. And when you talk about modules, they would not know what that is. You might want to say the word packets. Because in pandemic, they said that they had an online teaching, but some of the students had to pick up their packets from the school. Yeah, they use packets. Yeah, not bad. Okay, all right. So Girl is here. Thank you again, Girly, and Taban. Okay, Annalisa Pasadas. You were here last week, no? Annalisa.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Good evening and good morning there.
Good morning.
Merlina.
Yeah. Do you mind turning on your camera, or can you?
Oh, I'm so sorry because I am in a very dark area because our connection in here is very hard. So I have to go to a mountainous place.
Yeah. Okay, next time I want you to get ready with a light or something where we could see you, okay? Because that's the whole purpose.
I have
I want to see you. Yeah.
I think I have to go to the town.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Middle of the night, no, don't do that. So anyway, all right, well, go ahead and tell us about yourself if you don't mind.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I am Annalisa Victor Pasadas. I came from Bohol, Philippines, and I am currently teaching in the Department of Education. I have 7 years experience in such department. I finished Bachelor of Elementary Education, a major in General Content course, because it's the way it is in here if you're teaching elementary. So that's it. So I am also currently studying for my master's degree.
Okay.
I also want to teach in the US because from when I was a child, really really love teaching, and until now, it's still the way it is. It's still the way I am. So, and since I was a child too, I was dreaming to go to US, and then since I am passionate of teaching, so I think I could teach more there, and also I can learn more to embrace other cultures too, and how they teach children in other cultures. So I think that's all.
Very good. I think a bunch of you are my regulars here, right? And so I would like for you to make a comment, positive. And you remember my rule. You have to do a glow and a grow in the middle, and then another glow. And somebody practice with that. This is what you should do with your students whenever you're doing like parent-teacher conference, for example, or talking to a parent. You need to start with a positive, and then what they need to improve, and then another positive. I'm gonna have to put Abigail on this one. Abby, thank you for attending. I know she had to wake up early here in Arkansas. Abby, what comments do you want to tell her about her introduction? Uh-oh, you're muted, you're muted. You're muted, Abby. You have to unmute first. Okay, unmute. Okay, there you go. Okay,
hi, ma'am. I was so busy changing my background. I was exploring the things and how to do it, and I wasn't really listening to everything she said. So my apologies. My apologies.
Well, thank you for being honest. And in my classroom, what I do is I would ask, instead of embarrassing them, I always would say, I want you to call a friend. So Abby, I want you to call a friend to help you. Okay. This is my first teaching for the day. Try to never embarrass any child, and always have them to positively say, hey, you want to have a friend to help you. Have that kind of, yeah. Okay, call a friend, Abby, if you don't mind.
Don't call me.
Call anybody.
I might be biased, but should I call my niece? I actually have two nieces in there. I have Giselle and Therese, and I have Girly. So I guess I should go with Giselle and first, then Girly.
All right, Giselle. Tell us about what comment you would say about the introduction. Because I want you to start listening to introductions of everyone here, because you need to learn about what to include, because those are things that could already have a plus points for you. That's kind of how you are opening the world, about yourself. The people that are interviewing the other side of the world, they're making judgment already. Is this person fluent? Is this person giving us enough information? Is this someone that we want to work with? Okay, so you're positive, that's why I want to see pictures, your faces, the way your gestures would help, and so on. Okay, go ahead, Giselle.
I'm nervous. This is my
no,
first
you're fine. Don't worry about it. This is a safe place.
Yeah, I really love listening, Doc. But then,
yes.
Mariha, ako yung gikuan. Sige na. From her introduction, I could say she said, it's good. She talked about her dream.
You need to say to her, talk to her. Said, hi, you did a good job on this.
Hello, ma'am. I think it's Ma'am Annalisa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. You tell us about your dreams as a child, loving being a teacher. I think that was good. And one thing that really comes in my mind when you say USA, you would really say the USA, right?
I was so happy.
Really don't forget that. Yeah. So instead of saying USA, you would really say the USA. I think that's all, Doc. I'm really nervous. Maybe next time I can prepare. Thank you, Doc, for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Both of you. Yes. I was hoping somebody would point that out, that anytime you say our country, you say the Philippines. And when you say the US, you say the US or or America. You can say America, but you don't say the America, you say in America or yeah. But anyway, but if you want to say US, you need to say the US. Woo, good catch there. I guess that's why I want to call somebody, because I want to see if somebody remembered. that I said that before, right? So thank you for that. And who else is here that I have not talked to? There's Fervy, you're new, La Casa, yeah. Do you mind talking to us, Fervy? Beautiful picture. Okay, you're muted. You want to unmute?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Actually, it's my second time to attend this Zoom meeting.
Okay.
I am here last time, and then I sent it some documents.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I'm
I get confused because I hear people from both here and also in email. So apologize for that. So go ahead and tell everybody though where you are in the Philippines, possibly.
Okay. So my name is Merlina McCullough, and I've been teaching for almost 8 years here in the Philippines. And for a while. Okay. 2 years in the private school and then almost 6 years here in the public school. I am teaching second grade and handling English right now. And I also teach on private school. I also teach grade 1 to 3 kids and handle science. I am on my 36th unit of Master of Arts in Education Management. But due to some reasons, I wasn't able to finish it yet.
Okay.
And here I am trying my luck to apply. I'm sorry for the noise. That is why I am pausing for a while because my kids is my kids are.
Yeah. Oh my God, you have a cute baby.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mom. That's
no, you're fine. I am always jealous with babies because I'm really ready to be a grandma now. I want my daughter Stephanie, who's been married 7 years, to have a baby. So yeah, I'm so jealous. Like I go and like I go at the store and I would like drool over this baby clothes that I want to buy so bad. But I can buy it. Which gender? Yeah. So very good. Thank you for reminding us who you are. Did I miss anybody? I always want to feel. And just like we do in our classroom, we always want to feel or make sure that the students know we validate them. Every one of them is special. And that I make a point to always like call randomly. And this is lesson number 2 is whenever you are calling students, try to be fair. Like you would not call. That's why I said this in an earlier Zoom that I never called 3 girls in a row or 3 boys in a row. So my students are like watching that. They were like, oh, that's the third, not that, that's 3 boys in a row, Ms. McCullough. And I'm like, oh, thank you for telling me that. Okay, let's go. Let's, so if I already called a boy, I would ask that boy to call a girl. Okay, so that's one thing that you could do for equity. That's very important. If somebody's watching you, when I was a practice evaluator, where I actually graded teachers to get their license, that was a big deal. I always noticed that. And I would notice things like, are they always standing in one side of the room, left, right, center? Are they moving? By the way, whenever you are talking to us, try to not show like you're moving around because you look like really hyper and ADD. Just kind of be still because, because if you're like moving like this or standing up and so on, like, oh my goodness, can this teacher be still? But anyway, just watch for that on your interview. And of course, I've covered things like dress up like you are going to church. Okay, which means that, you try not to, and here, of course, you're about to go to bed. I'm not going to expect you to dress up for our Zoom, but I just want to remind you that when what they do is they will email you, or some of them would call you, but a lot of time they don't know how to call out of the country. So they will email you and ask you what is the best time to have a Zoom meeting with you for an interview. And so of course you tell them that, and then they will send you a link. And then so make sure that you are ready, that you come in about 10 or 15 minutes early, because if you ever have any technical issues, which I did not follow today because I was actually overslept a little. And so I was like trying to hurry, like I was like a cartoon character being fast forwarded cartoon character. I was doing that because I was having issues coming in on the technical things, and I was still trying to get ready at the same time. But anyway, I'm telling on myself. But there's one thing too that you do is actually share something about yourself. You do not want to be unprofessional about it. Like one teacher actually said, and this is what you do not do, okay? I am so stressed with you guys that I have not changed my underwear for 3 days. Oh my gosh. When I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, just kill me now. Like, why would you even say that? That is so awful. When I heard that, I'm like, oh my gosh, my goodness, I hope I hope it's not somebody that I'm really close to, would say that. But some teacher actually said that, and it was a parent who told me. It was a parent who told me that, oh, that teacher, and of course, when a parent does that, would say something negative about somebody, I would say, oh, I understand. I would try to always be positive and not put that person, like, I'm okay with you talking back about somebody or talking bad about somebody. So I would say, well, I'm, being a teacher also, I could empathize with her, but I know it's unprofessional, but I could really empathize the feeling because we do get stressed out. I try to support it. You don't ever put anybody under the bus. That's what they call it here. Putting somebody under the bus is that you're saying bad things about them behind their back. You don't want that. Even if you agree to that, for example, they're talking about the teacher from that school and you know them and you agree, do not say, yeah, oh yeah, that person is really bad, whatever. That's very unprofessional. We should be each other's cheerleaders, and that's one thing that I always said when I was, talking in the beginning of the year to our teachers. I would say, when I was administrator, I would say, we need to be like a family. Just like we are at ITSA. I feel like we are family here. We need to be like family. And I know like family will have dysfunctions, right? But dysfunctions doesn't mean that you're gonna air our bad laundry in public. You're not gonna go to your beauty shop and tell something bad about our school, because you have to know that these community members, we need their support. Because you tell one person in that beauty shop, they're gonna tell 10 more, and that 10 more will tell anybody else. And then your reputation in the community is bad. So if you want to pass the millage for a tax increase in order for them to build a new school, they're not going to support you. Why are we supporting that school? They are this bad, or whatever. So you do not want to be the one that would be a bad publicity person for your school. You should be the representative of your school of education and be a role model. Okay. So same thing with students. I'm so allergic to teachers saying bad things about students in the lounge. And in the US, it's very common. In fact, you hear things like, oh, you don't want to eat in the lounge because you hear so many negative things about students, and it's so it doesn't make you feel good. You get out of there and not feeling well, about anything, because it discourages you. Why would these teachers talk bad about students? That is so inappropriate, but they do it. One administrator actually got in trouble for, he was putting a electronic device in the teacher's lounge. And they were wondering, why does this principal always know what's going on here? Like somebody would be sharing something, the principal already knew it. And so then that's how they discovered that the principal actually had recording devices in the lounge. So when you do in the lounge, not just here, but also there, think about what if the parent or the principal have recording devices in this room. Do I say what I'm saying? And if you say no, then you better not. Okay. The only person that I really vent to when I was a teacher was my husband. And even that got me in trouble once, because got me in trouble, but got somebody else in trouble once, because I was sharing with my husband one time that there was this Andy that I was teaching that I was so concerned about, because Andy was always like drawing some very violent things, like always like somebody, like some kind of sword with blood and things like that. I was like describing it to my husband. Well, I had a kindergarten age jet. He's now 23, but kids would listen and would repeat things in the playground. So he was kindergarten student, and he was telling his friend in the playground while they were swinging in the playground and said, oh yeah, and I said something about Andy. I'm afraid that, those kids like that could, they said that I referred him to the counselor because I was so afraid. I'm hoping that, there's nothing negative in his mind or whatever, that, those kind of kids have been found, some of those kids that had done some shooting at school were doing things like that. I was like doing a concern. Oh my gosh, Jet repeated that to his friend in the playground. And guess what? The friend told a grandmother. And a grandmother went to my principal, and the principal came to my room and said, oh, Miss Merlina, I have something interesting that happened today. And I said, what happened? He said, well, a grandma came over, and then he named the grandma. And I said, oh, that's just best friend's grandma. That's exactly what that's exactly why she came, is because about what Jet said. And then he shared that. I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I am so careful because I apologized, and I said, you know how you have to vent because you have a very stressful day. And I bent to my husband, and I didn't realize how thin our house is, that he was able to hear when there is a hallway. There were 3 bedrooms upstairs and 2 downstairs, and he was able to hear from across the hallway. So I blame my husband. I said, you should have put more insulation in this one. He could hear us. But anyhow, so after that, I was always so careful about when I shared with my husband, I would be in a car with him. That means there's no Jet or anybody that could hear us, because that created an issue, because the grandmother was so worried. It's like, oh my gosh, there's there's somebody that's going to had a school shooting or whatever. And of course, that really created an issue in my principal's mind. I didn't get in trouble. Jet did not get in trouble. He just was wanting to remind me that when you share to your husband, make sure that, any children, is not around. So that's something that you have to remember. And especially as an administrator, oh my gosh, as administrators, and Dr. Elvin, I think, can relate to this, and the other ones who have been principal, it's a lonely place, guys. It's a lonely place because there's nobody that you can vent to. None of your teachers, even though some of your teachers maybe have been your friends in the past, but they look at you like you crossed the dark side. Whenever you went into administration, like, oh, are you still going to be our friend because, you went to the dark side kind of type feeling. And also, it's not appropriate to share with them anyway, things that are going on. You cannot share with them things that you're dealing with on the discipline part. You cannot really share that because of the privacy, the FERPA. The privacy issue here is that you cannot really share what's going on about another student. So even if there are 2 students fighting, you cannot tell the other parent what you did with the other kid. That is a private information. You do not share those. You do not share those, or especially their health information. That's a big deal. Okay. So anyhow, it's a lonely place. And in one of the schools that I worked in, there was a policy like we cannot be friends with the teachers. Like we cannot be like hanging out with them. But guess what? I am a very friendly person. I cannot do that. I'm friends with them. They invite me in their parties. They invite me in their Christmas parties. They invite me when they go and watch a movie together because there's a movie that's educational movie or fun movie to watch. They'd invite me. So what I did was I just told them, I will be the person that will take the picture. I do not want to be in the picture because I will get in trouble, because the administrator that told me I cannot be friends with them, the best friend is like one of the teachers. So anyway, no, one of the principals. But so I thought, well, she's going to having a beach vacation with her best friend. Her best friend is one of, is also under her. But anyway, so, sometimes we actually, what is that? Do what I say, but not what I do. Leslie knows that really. I always say that. But anyway, so yeah, just remember that when you are sharing information about your students, do not share it with other parents. For example, your parent-teacher conference, you get on and sharing about things. Do not ever share information about another child. It's a big deal here. It's a big deal here. Okay, so let's process that, because my strategy that most important to me is 10-2 strategy. 10 minutes that I talk and 2 minutes that you talk. So you have to process that. We have to anchor that information in. So you'll remember that. So what did you learn about that? Is that the same in America or the Philippines? Are we that strict there in the Philippines? Because, I have not taught in the Philippines. I was educated here in the US, and all my my 30 plus experience in education is going to be in the US, not the Philippines. So even after I retired after 25 years, I continued to teach teachers. So I count that as my educational experience. But anyway, is that different or is that the same? Are the rules the same about sharing, about privacy and so on? Can somebody answer me?
Dr. Merlina.
Yes.
As a school principal, we have the same, but you know, here in the Philippines, there are lots of marites.
Karen, we call that Karen or marites here. Okay.
Yes,
Right.
so that is why in my case, whenever I have conference with my teacher, the glass door must be closed so that no one would be listening at this other side of the door, because the administrative assistant is just there behind, so probably she's listening, and probably whatever you have discussed, anything would reach the other teacher.
And the community.
So marites are actually like birds.
Do you know, I just learned about marites the other day, and I'm like, what are you talking about, marites? I mean, you know, what are you talking about? So here they call that Karen, or they said Nancy, negative Nancy, or something Karen. Anyway, so yeah, that is a very good point there, that whenever you talk to a teacher as an administrator, you don't need the others to know, you know. But when I was administrator, the teachers came for different reasons. A lot of time because I've always worked like as a curriculum leader. So I'm just not there to discipline kids. I have an assistant for that. So I always like blocked off my day every morning. So from 9 to 11:30, I am in the classroom. And so I tell my assistant that yeah, unless there is a fire or somebody's trying to, you know, to kill somebody, that's when I will be taken out of my classroom, you know, deployment, because self-deployment, I think, is very important for administrators. You do not want administrators that are just sitting in their office. You know, that's a really poor, weak administrator, just like a teacher that would sit on the desk and not be teaching. That's really poor to me. And so I was always deploying myself. So I had a schedule for myself, which classroom I'm going to go to. And so the teachers always are aware that I'm coming. And when I am just coming from with myself, and usually my little laptop or my little phone, and I always tell them, hey, I'm not playing with my phone or doing text while I'm in your classroom. I'm actually doing an evaluation. And I shared with them the instrument I'm using, you know, so they know. And then I would just email them that particular program we were using. We could email it directly, our comments. So before I leave that room, they already have a feedback. And so then I said, if you have any questions, come over to my office and we'll talk more about it, you know, because I would actually suggest things like I do now. Oh, Leslie and Abby are here, but I'm still working on my proposal at your school, so I can do this. But I've done this with Helena and Brinkley, where I would actually watch them. I've been watching them every week, and I would actually share with them what I found. So these are the glows, and these are the grows, and these are some things that you might want to work on. And so this is what I would do if I were in your classroom. This is what I would do.
Doc, may I add?
You know,
Doc, may I add? With regards to being an administrator to the teachers, never entertain marites, meaning you always validate.
Yes. Yes.
Investigate. Yes. You do not only listen on one side, but
yes,
both sides, or it should be fair. It should be fair.
Yes, I always
to
thought
avoid
that.
conflict. To avoid conflict, Doc.
Right. And if it's students, I always believe in 3 witnesses, 3 different people I talk to before I would even, you know, make a ruling. At least 3 people. But anyway, yeah, as administrators, you know, I always would say, like, if you come to my office with a problem, try to bring some solution, because we're going to talk about it. You're going to be included in that conversation. Nobody died and made me boss. This is going to be a collaborative leadership, and that you're going to have input. Everybody has input. including students. You know, students, I was at a junior high, 8th and 9th grade building. And so my son Jet happened to be the student council president. So he was always like, in the morning, we would have, you know, the student council president gets to do the announcement, which is, you know, your student leadership thing. And that's a good thing. If you're not doing that in your school, you should do that, because I think it's powerful. He got to, you know, do every morning. He will do the announcement. He will do the Pledge of Allegiance after. But he has a really good radio voice that is like really whole voice, you know, really like deep voice. And so he knew, they said, oh, that's Dr. McCullough's son, you know, that Jet. But he did not get it because of me. It's because he had to do a speech and actually had to have to campaign. I remembered I had lunch duty one time, and I did not know that they were supposed to like come in there and talk about, because I was wondering, I said, Jet, what's going on? Why are you wearing a suit? He said, Mom, I have to do something with student council. He didn't really say what, because, you know, I did not know he was going to do a speech. So when he was doing a speech right there while everybody's eating, and there's a stage here, and he was over there talking about the things that he was going to do for the building. You know, when I become student council, I'm going to be doing this. We really need this in the class, in the bathroom. Our bathrooms need like whatever it was. And then we need to make sure that we help each other. You know, some positive things. I'm like, oh my God, that's my son. I'm so proud of him. Because they were like telling me, oh, Miss Merlina, did you like teach her? Did you like make that speech? And I'm like, no, never. I've not seen a word about that speech. But I was so proud that he was. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I'm level 2 a lot today. Sorry. Anyway, but what was doing was telling about what really the good things that he's going to do in the school, and that's what we want our students to do, is be thinking about others, right? And then that's how they do it here in student council. They actually have to campaign, and they actually have to vote. And so you cannot just say, well, I want so and so to be president. You know, while the others are saying like, oh, I'm going to have like, you know, we're going to have be off on Fridays, things like the impossible things that they're promising that they cannot do. You know, some of them are like saying, I want to make sure that our lunch would be like always like we have ice cream, or, you know, things like silly things. But so for our students to have that opportunity to lead is a good thing, right? So do we have that in the Philippines? Do we do student council, and do they take it seriously as like, you know, do we do that? Leslie, you were nodding. What do we do there?
Yes, Doc. We have like a supreme student government in the elementary. No, supreme student. Yeah, it is SSG, and we are doing that in our school. And we are electing officers every school year. So we have like a mayor, a vice mayor.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah,
that is so cool
in the Philippines, and they're also like active inside the school. They have a teacher advisor, and she's the one to supervise those students, those elected students, and they also have like projects for the school, like cycling and everything. They also
that's so good. I'm so glad to hear those. You know, it's always so amazing when you hear that. It's yeah. Thank you, Leslie, for sharing that. You know, for those that are new, why did I say level 2? I'm gonna have to start testing all the people that remember. Why did I say, oh, I'm level 2 a lot, or I'm level 1 a lot? What, Edini, you are like smiling there. May I call you to share with everybody what is level 1 and 2, what are they talking about?
Yeah, level 1 is like you're always talking about yourself. I am like this, I am like that. And then level 2 is like you're talking about your family, my son, my husband. And then level 3 is like you're more on like for the people, like you're talking about the community, for
global.
Global, yeah, talking like you want to address a problem, something like that. Yeah, it's like you're embodying for the whole, I don't know, for the global community.
Yeah, above and beyond your own self.
Above and beyond.
Yeah, good job. Thank you. Good job. Let's give her a round of applause. Hi, you do this in your classroom, by the way. You validate your students, okay? You need to find ways that you would like clap, 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 you know, anything like that. Coming up with things like that, because it's showing the students you're excited, and it's energizing, and it's actually called establishing a culture of learning. Okay, so whenever you're positive and you're doing things like you've seen have you seen on the support group, or you see my sister's classroom where they were doing their classroom pledge? It's amazing. She does that every year. And so their classroom pledge is different every year because the students made it. The students create the pledge the first week of school and they memorize it. And then they would do it every morning to start their day. And then she has everybody, she would just sit there after she trained them for like 2 or 3 weeks. She would just be there. I was visiting her classroom and she would just like do the role, you know, without calling the names. She would do a sitting chart and would check on who's not there, you know, so that the students are starting the classroom. Good morning, class, you know, the president or whoever the leader is, good morning, you know, and all that. And then they would do the pledge, the classroom pledge that they have written, and that they would do, they even do actions with it. Yeah, later on they would add actions to it. So it's really a cool thing to see, because when you are evaluated here in the US, is you are gonna want to see student leadership. Things like, do you assign roles to your students? So if you have jobs, classroom jobs, that's a good thing. You know, my sister seems to have a job for every student of hers. She would have this, like she would have this, can you see the paper? She would have this paper, right? I mean, this long like poster board that's long. And she would have the jobs there. And then she would have the clothespin and with a name. And that would be, so every job has a clothespin with a child's name. And then the leader or whoever it is assigned moves that clothespin every day. So the job changes every day. So, or every week, whatever it was that she decided. So, but it's so cool to see that somebody's a material manager, somebody's a paper passer, somebody's, any jobs that you do. You even have a fire marshal. A fire marshal is like a person that would be the last person to go whenever there is a fire drill, and the fire marshal would check that there's nobody in the bathroom, there's nobody left in the room to burn. So that's your fire marshal. And but anyway, different jobs that you create that your whole class needs. You could have she has like encourager, that's like a validator that would like lead the class to say, oh, let's give them a round of applause or things like that. And so if any time that you give the work back to students, it's a good thing. Okay, when the classroom is running like a well-oiled machine, that is a kudos to the teacher. You did a good job of making your students become independent, because that's really what we want to do. We want our students to be independent, problem solver that could carry whatever they're learning in the classroom to their lives, and beyond. So when they grow up, they'll remember, oh, in 6th grade, I remembered we had to do this, and this was my job, and all this. So you're actually training them about life. And now she's doing economic classroom, which is like, and I'm on level 2 again. I'm aware, but she's taking it to level 3 because she's teaching the kids economics. Okay, so they have they call them Trotter. His last name is Trotter, so she would call it Trotter Bucks. She had this little through Canva.com. She was doing this money, and she put her face in it, so that's why it's called Trotter Bucks. And Trotter Bucks are like, these are really like, kids are really saving it, because you earn Trotter Bucks on different things, and then you even pay for your just like in the real life, we have to pay rent. So they have to pay rent in where they're seated. So some of the preferred seats in the back, they don't like to be sitting in the front. So people sit in the back. So they have to pay more rent there, and so they get paid for the jobs that they have. So on Friday, it's payday. So if you didn't do a very good job, you might not get your full pay. You might have been ducked off, just like in real life. So there's the accountability there. And what happens is, I don't know if it's like every Friday or every once a month that they would do like an auction. And this is when the kids keep up with their own money and all this, because they have an auction. And her auction is a treasure box full of really good stuff that they can buy with Trotter Bucks, that they get to take home. It could be books. It could be, just things that she can think of. She would go to Goodwill. And I've said something about Goodwill before, that as a really a donation place here that you can get, really cheap stuff. I've seen some of the posts of some of the teachers that are already here, and they went to Goodwill and have this like shoe shopping. Leslie, were you part of that? And Abby, were you part of that, where you were shopping for shoes or something. Anyway.
Yes, ma'am. We were.
Yeah. What do you think about Goodwill?
Goodwill is a place to go when you're here. Yes. There are lots of stuff that, branded ones in a very reasonable price, like lesser than expected.
Yeah, $4 for shoes that maybe $100. Yeah.
Yes.
So really, really.
And whatever is the color for that week, every Sunday, whatever the color for that week, it costs like $1.
Yeah.
Right, ma'am?
Yeah. They change colors. It's a white tag would be $1.
Yes.
But it might be half price all week, but on Sunday, it's $1. So you could buy for $10, you get a lot of stuff, right?
Yes,
yeah. So now whenever you get your car, you'll be going to Goodwill.
Soon.
Yeah. Abby is one of the lucky ones that got her husband on a J2 visa, and we met him in the airport. So she's excited. Her husband.
I am forever grateful to you, ma'am.
Oh,
forever grateful. I'll call you about the thing you called about last night. I'll call you later.
Yep, I invited them to come to my house. I didn't know what the decision is, but anyway. All right. So she's so sweet though, because she is the auntie of Abby, and
Leslie.
Poor Abby had school, and she doesn't. So I said, hey, why won't you and your husband come? So I don't want to leave Abby. Like, well, Abby's got Marissa.
Leslie.
Oh, Leslie, I'm sorry, Leslie. And so anyway, so I understand if you don't want to go without her, but she cannot miss 2 days of school. Yeah. But how many days are you off?
About 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. That is so amazing.
Full break.
She is so lucky that she has full break. Most of the schools here do not. What happened is their school has really, I guess, visionary administrators. They started like in July instead of August. So they started pretty much like a month early. And you were still in the Philippines, and they were already teaching online. And so when you got here, you got paid immediately, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, you already got paid. The others were so jealous because they were still waiting for their pay. Yeah. And then of course, last week, what was different with them is that Helena, who is the one with the most Filipino teachers, that's where Mike will be. And there's 15 of them by the time Mike and them, and congratulations with them. Step 1 was approved. Yay,
wow.
LCA was approved. And so that's the labor condition certification from Department of Labor, showing that they are going to be paying them the same, and they are going to be fair, and they're not going to have a local person lose their job. All this lots of paperwork that we had to do, and they get approved. So I was like so happy. I got it at night because Miss Bonita Mills sent it to me. Yeah, and so they got their $5,000. And I don't know, Mike and them, you should be able to get it. I don't know. I've not asked Miss Bonita, but I will ask her. Anyway, the others that are here already, there's 11 that's already here from that school. So they got $5,000 bonus. That's just for being a teacher this year. And so, but I think Abby and Leslie are still waiting for theirs. Hopefully they will be also getting it. What happened is that they were saying, they were protesting, a bunch of the teachers are protesting that Arkansas teachers are not getting paid very much. We are on the 50 states, we are in the 48, 49. They used to say, thank God to Mississippi, because Mississippi usually is the lowest. And so they're kind of very poor state too. And so anyway, so they decided, hey, let's give the teachers a bonus. But when they approved that, they did not fund it, which means that they are telling the superintendents that if you have the money in your budget, you pay your teachers $5,000 or whatever it is that you can pay. But some superintendents, their priority might not be academic. So their priority might be sports, that they might be a big sports, school, and they might be rather pay, $500,000 or whatever it is that they would have paid the teachers to build some kind of sports complex or some kind of something, might hire 2 more coaches, or 3 more coaches, whatever. So it depends on the priority of your superintendent. And we're hoping that, all the superintendents in the area where I'm helping, that they will all get their $5,000. Because I know Leslie's already trying to get her husband here on J2 visa. So when you all are gonna get your interview, and J1 visa October 1, I think should be, they said October 1. Some people, some information are saying October 1, but some information say in January. So I don't know which one is true. And I asked my brother-in-law who works for immigration, and he said, well, I'm really doing a different visa. His visa is to change the H1B to, the J1 to H1B. I think that's what he does, but it's Mexico. And so he's not doing Philippines. But anyway, so he cannot really answer a question that he's not doing because they do not share each other's cases, But anyhow, so I'm hoping that they will get it, because J2 visa is what you need for your spouse. And you can actually apply for that at the same time. I think that's what Abby, is that what you did? Was Alvin already in your application to start with?
Yes, ma'am. And I actually haven't paid for his program. So I haven't paid a thing for his program. Other visa sponsors would have like $350 per J2 or $550 per J2, but I haven't paid a thing for his.
Oh my gosh!
Yes,
that's awesome. What are you, Green Heart?
ITSA, International Teacher Exchange Services.
Okay, ITES, guys, make note of
yes,
this.
Ma'am.
ITES, if you're
and our school is the one who contacted them, and then the visa sponsor contacted me. And then when they asked for my papers, I also sent the papers of my husband, and they processed it together, and I haven't paid a thing for it.
And some like I think GEC. I think they charge Marie Chris, I don't remember, $550.
$550 per J2.
Yeah, because she brought her 2 girls. And so I know she had to come up with a lot of money. And so that's one thing that is a learning here, that whenever you start, they're asking for J1 visa, you will need a sponsor. But do not just get any sponsor. You have to get the designated visa sponsors. These are the only ones that actually could help you. The other ones, the third-party agency, they call them, they're just really wanting to get you money, because after they get you money, then they still have to send you to a visa sponsor. So you're actually double paying. Okay, so make sure before you sign anything, you ask me or you ask any of the people that are here, that are already here. And then, but if you have to check, are they in the designated visa sponsor list? But if it's an H1B visa, just like what Mike is doing with the 3 ladies that are coming here, H1B visa, you don't need a visa sponsor. Your visa sponsor is your school. And that's what, that's what we had learned. I'm learning a lot about it because I'm helping the school get the visa. And so the whole purpose is that the other ones that are here on J1 visa, they're going to be, that's the step for us. After Mike and them are here, we're going to go back and get the teachers that were here last year, the first batch of 4, that we're going to start getting them to H1B visa. But the thing is, you have to extend it. You have to extend your 3 years. Because 3 years, you're supposed to go back. J1 visa, this is how the program works. You have 3 years here in the US, and then you apply for extension. And there is a 2-year physical presence requirement, which is like you have to go back to the Philippines for 2 years and then you can come back, because you're supposed to share what you learned. But there is a $160, they call that visa waiver, that is being issued. I do not know. Some teachers are saying, yeah, that's hard to get. My brother-in-law said that if you do it here in the US, it should not be that hard. And it's then you waive that 2-year requirement. That means you're going to be here. You can only go 5 years on the J1. So after your 3 years is over, you get the extension for 2 years. That is the maximum for that visa. And of course, schools are going to want you here longer than 5 years. So the next thing is that you change your visa from J1 to H1B. So H1B, so Mike and them are actually doing the step 2, already on the next level compared to the ones that were already here. It's because they ran out of, by the time we hired them, or the school hired them, they were already out of J1 visas, because they ran out about May, June, July, something like that. So by August, they're gone. Okay, the ones that they may say they have it, they may charge you like they call that an arm and a leg here. That means they charge you a lot. Like I think one of the agencies, they charge them like, I think $4,000. And then if you cannot pay that, they will have you hooked up with this financial place, that loan company that you would owe them. And then so the $4,000 becomes $6,000. And several of the Helena bunch are using that. You know, Ernest Montenegro, he's using that, and his brother, and a bunch of them are using it. And I feel bad because they have to send them like 12 checks for $500 for 12 months. That is a lot. That is a lot. So when you start looking for, I want everybody to write down designated visa sponsors, and then you US, and then you put quotation mark so that you will see the whole thing, designated visa sponsors. Or you can see the link. I think Mike might be able to put it on the GC. The link for the designated visa sponsor, that's what you need for J1 visa. J1 visa is faster. You can get here within a month or two, you know, so it's way faster, but it's limited. There's a limit of so many, and by the time that's gone, and then you then they say, oh, no more visa, you have to go next year. And so what schools that are willing to do to sponsor, because they're afraid of H-1B visa, a lot of times their school lawyer, their school attorney would discourage them. You know why? Because they think, oh my gosh, I have to do all the work, you know, and they are not immigration lawyers. So they don't want, and I think JEC was trying to charge Mike and them, the four of them. I mean, they on H-1B, that the also advantage for you guys, for the applicants, is that it doesn't cost you anything. The school is supposed to pay for everything. And that is the instructions, that you cannot ask anybody to pay, the applicants to pay. Everything that's relating to the hiring of you and bringing you here has to be paid by the employers. And that's another thing, they don't want to pay that. And so on J1, it could be this, it could be the employer, it could be you, it could be part you and part, you know, there's allowance there. They can actually let you pay, because some schools that do not have the budget, they will say, okay, you pay this, but then when you get here, we will pay this, whatever, you know. And I think, you know, Helena, for example, they are so poor. They're really one of the poorest school districts here, but they pay well. They pay well on their pay. They start well, but they are having the you know, the ones that had J1 visa, they have to pay for the expenses. The only ones they paid for were like anything relating to getting their licensure, like TOEFL. TOEFL cost less than $300, $260 or something like that. So they pay for that. They just have to have a receipt. But Leslie, on the other hand, I helped her school to process her papers. And so Leslie, what was yours? I don't remember. What was your company and how much did you have to pay?
Well, I was with GSC though, and I paid GSC, Global Educational Concept, and I paid like 3,700. But when I got here, everything was refunded. I was reimbursed with the same amount of money.
She is one lucky one, because the school has never hired any international teachers. So of course they were just listening to me because they don't know what to do. So, and they hired me to be a consultant to help them get here.
Yes.
And so I just told them, you have to pay for the expenses. So I didn't give them a choice. I said,
yeah, thank you very much, Doc.
Yeah,
because I did not expect them to, you know, to really like give me the reimbursement once I get here. So I was not expecting anything because the others were not getting there. So, but I was really like, oh, if they will give me a reimbursement, that would be so, you know, I would be so happy. And then they did, because you told them. So thank you very much.
Well, I knew that school has more money than Helena. They actually have a budget, because I knew of a teacher that was teaching there, and they said in the past, before that, before your current superintendent, they actually were getting 5,000 or more bonus every year. They used to have that surplus money, and I think since then it became, you know, it budgeted for something else. Like they had a lot of coaches, for example. And so anyway, so I knew that they have the money. So when I say that, that's just an expectation. They said, "Oh, you are bringing them here, so you have to pay."
Yes,
but Helena's a different story, because they have been taken over by the state. And so the state had to make decisions, and they are very, you know, financial decisions and so on. So they didn't have the budget. And I knew that for a fact, because I used to work for the Department of Education. And so I knew that that's a really poor school, so they cannot afford to. So if the applicants did not pay for themselves, they cannot afford to bring somebody here. And it's a school that nobody wants to work in because of its location. It's isolated, you know, it's not, there's nothing there going on. You have to drive about close to 2 hours to go to Little Rock. And so Little Rock is the capital, like in Manila. And so your teachers, your new teachers, they would come in, stay a year, and then they move on to Little Rock or wherever and have, have a social life. And here, it's good that when we're taking international teachers, we have been, we're married, for example, and we're pretty content. We're not going to be interested in going to bars and other social things. So we are okay. When they do what they do, I know them, they're like so tired by the end of the day anyway, they just want to come home and take it easy and sometimes take a nap, right? And so that's why, because sometimes I would want to call them and I'm saying, I'm going to give them an hour because a lot of times they're tired and they want to go, sleep. I don't know if you do that in the Philippines, but they are done by 3:30. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 3 o'clock. And so then between 3 and 4, I try not to call them because I said they may be taking a nap. So I would try to call them after that, like about supper time or right after supper. Yeah. And they call that dinner here, right? They don't call supper. Nobody would ever call supper. They would say dinner. And yeah, even that confuses me because even for lunch, they would not say, we're going to have lunch. They said, oh, you want to have dinner with me? I'm like, I thought dinner was supper. Like that confuses me because some of the folks here would exchange it, they will not, like they would understand if you say, what did we say on ours? Instead of refrigerator, we say something else. What was the word that you say? You don't say refrigerator in the Philippines, you would say a brand. What was the brand that we always say that there? Frigidaire. They would say, you want to open the Frigidaire? And I'm like, they would say, what? What's a Frigidaire? Because, and like, yeah, you would say refrigerator and you don't say, where's the CR? CR what? CR what? Credit? What? So you don't know about CR. You would use bathroom if it's a private place, and you would say restroom if it's in a public place. You don't look for a CR unless you're talking to another Filipino. So what other misconception did you have, Leslie? Did you mess up yet saying things?
Yes, ma'am, because I was really confused because when we go out from our classroom and then we are about to go home, they would always say, have a good evening. And I was like, it's not evening yet, it's still afternoon. And why would they say that? And some would even say, have a good night. And I would just say, yeah, you too.
Yeah, they do that. They don't worry about
it. That really confuses me.
Yeah. We are so exact, I think, as Filipinos, because English is a second language to us. We're very exact. We're very formal. And theirs, because that is their native tongue, they just kind of play with it. It's like there's no and that confused me. My classic example is when I say to my husband, oh, the woman was coming, and I said, she's a fast woman. And my husband said, don't say that. And I said, why? Because fast woman here is like a wild woman, like somebody that's like somebody that's want to get a man, like a fast woman. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? I said, yeah, it's a negative connotation here. So you do not say that a woman is fast. So I didn't know that. Okay, how about is Abby? Did Abby have any misconception, or Alvin, especially Alvin, because he just arrived here? Did he have anything that surprised him?
Because I don't think so, because he's been stuck in the house for like 2 weeks already.
The poor guy. Because have you processed his employment authorization?
I'm starting, ma'am.
You should have done it.
I just
already,
got his.
Abby.
Yes, huh? I just got his insurance. Okay, and so I have to start.
Yes,
and probably. Yes, ma'am. And probably next week we'll be going to SSA, Social Security Administration. The school police officer Perry offered that if we want to go somewhere next week, he can drive us.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes,
I can also do that because I'm gonna be there Monday. And
wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there Monday, but I'll be helping Miss Mills with their visa, with their H-1B already. After the labor is approved, Department of Labor thing, that we're gonna actually be uploading their documents. But if you plan ahead, we can do something, because
yes, ma'am.
I think you live so close to the Social Security that that it's only 15-20 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so as long as we leave by 3 o'clock, you'll be okay. You can still make it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so just
on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Wednesday's not good because I'm coming home.
Oh, Okay.
Straight home.
Monday or Tuesday.
If you're coming home with me, yes, we can go by there.
We are.
Okay, good. Oh, good. Okay. All right, good. So good. So anyway, that's great. I had my cleaning lady clean my guest house, so you love the guest house. But anyway, okay. So do you have other folks, especially the ones that have attended for the first time here? Do you have any questions like that's lingering in your mind? I try to share with you some things that I know we have shared in past Zooms, but try to get you on the same page. You know, I'm always watching for the level 1, 2, and 3, and I've been doing level 1 and 2 a lot. I don't know why, stuck at the house. Anyway, so anybody else? Do you have a question that you want to ask me or Leslie or Abby because they're already here? Yes, Clark. Go ahead.
Actually, this is my first time, and I've been hearing J1 program for from so many people, and this H1 visa as well. And I'm shocked actually and surprised that it's actually possible for us to have H1 visa, because I thought as of the moment it's not. That's why actually, Doc, I have an American dream since then, since I was a little kid, but I felt like it's quite far out of reach. So yeah, I'm here in Singapore, use it as my stepping stone. And yeah, right now I just got married. So I'm actually looking for another country to settle down, to migrate. It's like what I've mentioned. And so yeah, hearing this makes my heart really happy. Yeah. And if it's possible, really, is it really possible for us to have?
Yeah, and what happened is that the regular H1B visa is really not going to open until March. There is a window there, like 2-week window, when they would do they call them the lottery, because there's a 65,000 visas limit. But if you have your master's degree and above, there's another 20,000. So you'll be 85,000 list instead of 65. But if your school is affiliated with a higher education, like a college or university, because you're teaching college classes, which most schools here are, and you just have to prove that relationship, which is the MOU, the memo of understanding between the university and the school, then you are accepted from that lottery. They actually will look at yours in the basis of the application. Now, that's what's going on. That's what we're hoping that will go on in Mike and them, because they're paying the 2,500 premium processing. The school will pay extra 2,500 per applicant. So that's $10,000 they're paying, so that they will know within 2 weeks after we have uploaded all the information and the website of the immigration. No, we're not uploading because that one had to be mailed, Mike. That was mailed, but we're going to do a fast one, because that particular visa is not going to be available online. You have to we download the forms, make sure it's all filled out, signed by you guys, or I don't know who signs you, or did it say applicant, Mike, or did you notice the forms I sent you? Mike, you are muted. Did you notice who had to sign it? Is it Miss Bonita or you guys?
Doc, I'm so sorry because I think I have a problem with my internet connection here. I'm asking the group if you are choppy, or I think my signal has a problem.
Okay, well, I was asking.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
I was just asking, I was sharing with them about the visa, the processes that we're doing with H1B. And when I sent you remember the two forms, the I-129, for example, did it say signed by the applicant in the bottom, or did it need to be signed by Ms. Mills? I know it says it needs to be signed. Was that you guys signing, or was that her?
I'm sorry, Doc. I didn't understand because my signal is poor, Doc.
Okay, sino ang mag-sign?
I have a problem.
Sino ang mag-sign sa paperwork, sa papilis? Yung I-129.
Okay, based on what I heard, Doc, that's the only clear words that I heard from you. Last time, we filled out, I filled out the two forms. The two forms that I sent, I shared to the group or to the other three, and the DS 160 since me, who else? Ma'am Dina and Ma'am April, we have started it, and we stopped in the part that we need the petition number, and
Okay.
that petition number will be sent to us by Miss Mills. And if Miss Mills will ask the four of us to continue completing the forms, so we will do it. And if she will told us, okay, I will be the one to finish it, it's okay.
Yeah,
Like that.
I think you just fill out your particular information that she doesn't have, and then I will help her with the rest. So if it needs to be signed by you, we will send it back to you. And thank you for being so fast at answering. So she's been bragging on you for being so fast. Like when you send Mike something, boom, it's back. You know, so thank you for that. You need that whenever you're processing papers. You have to always answer your emails, because a lot of times, you know, you're in the, we want to be in that clock already, the waiting clock for the 2 weeks. So we want to, that's what we're trying to do, is get that step 2 part done, because then the waiting begins. You know, you pay the 2,500 and then they have 2 weeks. And if they do not give you the result within 2 weeks, they're giving us back the $2,500 back premium processing. So they have to give it. My brother-in-law said it's a big deal. Like we have to get it done within 2 weeks or else they get their money back on the 2,500. So yeah. So which means, Mike, that if we can get it done this week, we should know within less than a month if you all are approved or not. So really getting our fingers crossed that they would see that connection of Helena and the university. And that way you don't have to go through the process of the lottery. That means you're not going to be part of the cap, you know, the limit. So which means that you can be processed anytime, because you're exempted from the cap. Is if you can see the connection between the university connection and the school, that's the key. And so I've been reading a lot and I've been watching a lot of videos on it, and that's what I gathered. And so I'm hoping that that's true. Otherwise, we'll have to, like, if they deny it, then we'll just have to like see what's next, because it's not the end when you get denied. There's other steps that you're going to do, you know, so don't be discouraged when they say, oh yeah, we're that, you know, we can accept you right now, whatever. I'm hoping that's not true, because I felt like it's a $10,000 gamble. You know, that's like $500,000 peso gambling, you know, for the premium processing. But, you know, we want to know, you know, we want to know the result. So yeah, H-1B, back to your point, Clark, it's really hard to find an H-1B visa sponsor, because unless you find a really rich school, and these are poor schools, except that they just really needed that those positions cannot be filled locally, and they have to prove that. And that's what the first step that we went was to have to prove that she had to print out, like, you know, she had all this application, but they're not qualified, and these Filipino teachers are qualified, and that's why we're hiring them. We had to prove that, you know, and they also had to post something about we're hiring international teachers because of, you know, the lack of applications or whatever. We have to post it in the school district and the school itself to show, you know, you have to be transparent about it. It's not a secret thing that you're hiring international teachers. It's a public thing, you know, because it's a public school. The taxes, the local taxes are actually paying teachers. So yeah. So good point on the H-1B. It is hard to find one, but whenever somebody was asking me, who was it? Somebody was just emailing me about somebody was wanting to pay for their H-1B visa, and this person wanted me to check if this school is legitimate. And so I sent this applicant link that it is legitimate. It's a new school. It's a charter school. So when you get a charter school, it's usually a small school, unless it's affiliated with the school district. But some of the charter school are within itself by itself. So it's still going to be funded by the state. But it is a charter school. That means they had broken off from the public school. There's a charter school near me, about 40 minutes from me, and that is created by parents who were so unhappy about the local school. So they form a charter school run by parents. And the charter school, they have a lot of rules that they don't have to follow like a regular, like a regular public school. Like public school, for example, you have to have, those many hours of the day you put in, because I want 6 hours or whatever, 7 hours. And then the teacher has to go home. Well, in a charter school, some teachers, you have to be careful about this. Charter school, you could be asked to stay 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 5:30 without extra pay. You know, in a public school here, normally the regular public school, if they ask you to stay extra, like Abby is doing, stay extra to do tutoring, for example, she's getting paid like what, if you don't mind me sharing, like $45 an hour, you know, to
Yes, ma'am, that's
pay.
correct. 45 hour,
And so she's
$45 per hour and
yeah,
3 hours per day, 3 days a week.
yeah. And so she 3 hours. So that's
3 hours a day. Usually,
$135. Yeah.
yes.
Wow, that is a lot of money, because what is, can somebody do the math there? 135 times whatever it is, let's just say 55. I think that's 57 the last time. What's 135 times 55? Somebody's phone is
7,400.
Yeah, and that is just her sideline after school. That is just the sideline per day. It's a sideline. So that's how big the money equivalent is.
And we actually started last week.
Yeah.
So we're done with the first week, and I don't have a student yet with me.
So you were there being paid, and no student, but you're getting paid. Nice.
I have been asking for the list of for my list, and they would say we are still looking over it, because we will be giving you those students who really need help. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I will get 3 or 4.
Yeah, but that's really cool though, that you're able to do that, because you know Abby has 4 kids and she wants to bring them here, so she's working extra hard,
double time.
Yeah, all the time. And so you know the poor Alvin had to wait till about, when she comes home, about 6. Is that right?
Yes.
He's a patient
6:30.
Yeah, but he knows though that your ultimate goal is to bring everybody here with the 4 kids. And I was like, say, you know, your 2 babies first. So anyway, so yeah, it's very understandable. And that's the thing. Your J1 visa can actually let you do extra money as long as it's still teaching. You cannot like work in the grocery store, because that is not what your visa is. Your visa is on teaching. And so if the school would ask you to tutor, another school would ask you, that's fine, because it's still teaching. So H-1B is a different story, I think. I think H-1B visa holder can actually buy a house here. They can, they have more things that they can do for H-1B. And then if you take the H-1B, and there's another form that you do, because H-1B is a non-immigrant temporary worker. But if you change it to another one, I-140, I think is what you use, then it becomes a green card path, you know. So that's something that I'm going to ask if we can do it at the same time with them. That way, if you have the limit numbers for H-1B is 6 years. So you will do 3 years, and then you will extend it for another 3 years. That's 6 limit. And so which means you have to go to the, you know, if you process it, if you can process it at the same time, go ahead and do the processing of the pathway to green card, because after 6 years, you get your green card. So after 6 years of H-1B, you will get your green card. So that's a path to green card. So that's why people would want the H-1B over J-1, but it's just hard to find. Okay. All right. So what else did we need to talk about? We did not cover very much content today, but I hope that the information you gain about visa processing would help. And I think some of the things that the others may not know about the 5 core propositions, when you get to interview, you need to make sure you cover all 5. And I don't know who I can call. You always need to ask your question before you name somebody. So I want to see who is, and you don't have to do it all 5. You can like work with 2 or 3 people who can name me all the 5 core propositions. These are important because, and this is what you should always do in your classroom. You always tell the students why it's important for them to know, because that's you telling their brain, remember this, you know. So this is important to know, because the 5 core proposition should guide you in your teaching plus in your interview. So if you would include these 5 things in your interview, every time they ask you a question, that means that you've covered it well. So can somebody start with, well, name as many as you can. Anybody, raise your hand because I want to put anybody in a spot.
I'd like to answer that, Doc.
Who said that? Girly. Thank you, Girly. Oh, okay, well, how many can you name?
Okay, I think it was Ma'am Bitsy, but I would like to answer also, Doc. I think the 5 core propositions would be, the first one is know your students. You need to really know your students, and then know your lesson. And then you have to assess them. And then I forgot the 4th one, but I remember the last one, which is all about collaboration. It could be a collaboration with the books, with the parents, with other resources that can help your teaching.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good job. Now, can somebody help call a friend to help you with number 4 because it rhymes with collaboration.
Number 4.
Ma'am Bitsy, because she has actually, she always she wants to answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
It's reflection, Doc.
Very good. Good job. Yes, yes, yes. It's knowledge of students. You have to know your students. That's why you do all this know your student activity with the first of the year. And you continue to do that throughout the year. One of them would be like standing by your door and greeting your students and getting to know about them, attending their ball games because you want to know about them. Sometimes you might even get an invitation like, can you attend my recital, my piano recital? Can you attend my karate tournament? You know, things like that. They would ask you to do that. And I hope that you would say yes, because that's one way for you to get to know your students. Because a lot of times when you do that, I've done so many of that, is you get to sit with the parents. You're watching them do their karate and you're sitting with the parents and you get to know them. You get to visit with them. So that's the best way to bond with them, is you have them one-on-one, you know, and they are just so impressed that, oh my gosh, a teacher took their time on a Saturday to away from their family to attend my child's tournament or recital. And that is going above and beyond. And that's always tells me I'm a national board certified teacher. And that's one of the things that we talked about, are things that you do above and beyond the classroom, things that you do voluntarily because you love your kids. You don't just do it because you're doing national board. It's because you do that all the time. That's just what you do. And that's what I hope that you do, you know, that it's not about money. It's not about anything else. It's about what you can do to help kids. And our kids in high poverty area are poor kids. We don't say poor kids, by the way, you say children in poverty, my students who are in poverty. Or, you know, and I said something, what were the things that I said about the, instead of saying lazy kids, what would you say? Anybody remembered? What? Unmotivated. You say unmotivated kids, okay? Kids with potential. So, but they're not doing it, which means really you don't want to say the lazy word, but it's really what it is. It's unmotivated students that can do it, but they don't want to do it. Okay, so you're unmotivated kids. So that might be a question they will ask you. What can you do to address the needs of unmotivated students? And of course, your answer to do an example of your 5 core proposition is that, of course, first of all, you know, because I know my students, you know, for example, I recall I have a student, John, and I found out that, you know, whatever it is that you did to find out, and that I know that he, as from my dealings with him outside the classroom, I know he's very smart. He's very capable. That's your knowledge of students. So I know that, so that therefore I found out what strategies, which is knowledge of content, strategies that would work for him. Okay. I found out that John is a auditory learner. So because he's an auditory learner, I found out that he doesn't really have to look at me when I'm doing my lesson. He's actually doodling or taking notes, because he just have to use his ears. I found that out. So because I know that, I make sure that I use 10-2 strategy, where I teach for 10 minutes, I do 2 minutes, and I'm watching that John with a partner are talking about what we just learned in 10 minutes so that he could process it. I know that auditory learners, you know, learn by talking to someone. They have to hear themselves talk before it gets in and get the learning in. So I know that about John. And then so which means that I was able to assess, what can I do? What are the things that I can do in order for him? How would I know that John, what his needs are and what are the things that I need to be looking for, which is assessment before, during, and after. And then, I found out that this one, you talk about the assessment and then you reflected later. Then upon reflection, I realized that I really need to do more. And then there's your collaboration. I need to collaborate with the parents. So I called John's mom and asked more about what else we can do. What are the, for example, if you found out that John likes to read, and in my classroom, I put bean bags, we're so comfortable. And John, when he finish his work early, he could lay down in that bean bag and read his book. That's my early finisher activity for him, is because I knew, because of my knowledge of students, I knew he's a reader. So I gave him that as a motivation after he finished his work in a quality, type of work. Then I gave him that's something that he works for. And by the way, you should do that in your classroom. If you have something that you are wanting to do with students, you're always going to have somebody that's finished first. Plan something to do. And I've shared this before, that I always had learning stations in my room. I had a science center where we had a pet, different one every year. They get to name it, they get to take care of it. I have math center where they get to build things. I have a publishing center, the literacy, where they write poems, stories, whatever. I had clipboard at each one of them. And then, so they can write what they observe. And I even have a backpack, a math backpack that went home with them. And this math backpack had a little stuffed animal that we also chose what animal they want. For example, it matches whatever animal we have. If we can, for example, if we had like they really want bear one year. They want a brown bear. And so I bought this brown bear and I put it in this backpack and I put a little diary or journal. And I said, okay, I want you to pretend that this math bear can actually listen, come home with you. They take turns taking it home. And then this bear, because that's really a writing thing too. This bear, would have you watch what you're doing with this math and manipulatives, whatever it is that's in the backpack that I showed, which is really a support of what we're doing in the classroom. And so if we're doing blocks because of the base 10s or whatever, whatever manipulatives I had, so they have to take it home and they have to get the bear out while they're explaining something to their family. And then they write about it. Okay, you have 10 minutes left. Okay, thank you, Dr. Evan. Anyway, so then they would write about it. So things like, oh, when I came into, so-and-so's home, Sophia's home, for example, I could smell the bacon. I could smell the, whatever it was that the mother was because they have to do the 5 senses, you see. And so they smell the bacon that was cooking, and they will, all this, and then they would say what happened, so-and-so took me in the table, and they had to clean it out because there was a lot of stuff in it, but then we cleaned that up place, and then it was explaining what happened and so on. And this bear was like, kind of you writing it in the bear's perspective, but you are covering science for the 5 senses, you're covering math there, you're covering literacy, and all that, but you also got to know your students, because you got to know who are there, who's in the family. They have to put a dialogue or a direct quote. So all these lessons that you could do, and it's a fun thing. They were like, oh my gosh, can I get the bear this time? Whatever the name is. And they took turns doing it. They took turns taking it home. And so anyway, but then in our morning meeting, in the mornings, where the president would actually be leading, they share that. Okay, let's read. Can you please read what you wrote on the bear journal? And they would say, they're so proud to show this. And they said, so the classmates also got to know their own classmates by knowing this is what happens when you get home from school. This is what goes on in their house, So it's a lot. To me, it's very loaded. And I have to say that's my original idea. Things I've stolen from different things, but I put it together. And so that's really, to me, that was one of the most powerful things. I think I still have my bear journal. I still have my journals here somewhere, because I would have journals for the kids like that every year. I would have a big giant scrapbook where each one have a page with all the things that they remembered for the year. And then we have our videos, because we did our videos where they were, videotape anything. Like we have our stories, we are acting it out, and then they are over there videotaping, being videotaped, and then we're doing our social studies and whatever it is that we're talking about, they acted it out. Example, it was like, okay, the Native Americans did this or whatever. Okay, let's act it out. Okay, and they start, you have to establish this, that it's a safe place. They just get to be goofy, but sometimes it comes alive. History comes alive because you make it like that. Like in science, okay, I want you to pretend like, your electrons and neutrons, all this, how do they move? How do, so anyhow, so I would have them, is a wave, we're doing about waves. So how does this, particular wave, what does it do? And so on. And so they got to learn it, because some of them, I remembered when we were taking a test, they were like doing some actions, and I was like, okay, they were remembering it. They were connecting it with the actions that we did when they were learning it. So anytime that you do that you include your, the kinesthetic, visual, and so I guess, what's that, VK, VAC, VAK, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic things in there, especially like, for example, music, while they are writing, they're very quiet, they're doing a writing activity. And I think the other day I think it was Christine in Brinkley was doing that. I was so happy. She was like, do you think it's a good idea to play music while they were doing this? They were creating their own spoken poetry. So they were really quiet. And so I said, yeah, it's a good idea. And the kids love it. And in Maria's classroom in Brinkley also, they were doing some, I think, do now activities. And Maria put in music and she said, these are mostly Black students. They might be one white, but they're mostly Black. Of course, their music is like Black music, but you have to be careful because there are some cussing and bad words in there. So she had to, they were naming some artists, and you have to put the word clean with it, the clean version, because they have the bad version. So you have to search it with that particular, rapper or whatever, and then you put clean version. And then that way they were listening to this and really, really happy with it. And then they were working, because that's stimulating their brain. So anytime you can add any enhancement in your classroom like that, that is the best. And anytime you have them to work in pairs, and then work in pairs, they have a product, you have them to share. Remember when we attend a PD and if you're just sitting there, it's so boring. But when you are in a PD, when you are in my PD, you're not gonna be sitting. You're gonna be doing a lot of things, because I put a lot of strategies in. You'll be working, you'll be presenting in there, and then the audience will be also making a comment, a written comment, and I'll have them to share it. And then I give that written comment to the presenters. That way they know what everybody's comment was, which is really validating. I used to, one year it was Christmas time, so I actually rolled it. And then I actually rolled it, and then I put a bow there, like a Christmas bow. And so everybody got their present after the presentation. You don't give it to them while the others are presenting, because then they'll just be looking at their feedback. They're not going to be listening to the other presentation. So I would lay it on my desk, and then I would put a bow and give it to them. And they're like, okay, Merry Christmas. And they all would read about the comments, which is really validating. Everybody wants to be validated. You want somebody to say nice things about whatever you did, because you're proud of it. Okay. And then of course, another thing that I do is I always have accountability piece, which means that they're going to have some kind of comment. How did you do as a group? Did you get along? Do you from rate yourself from 1 to 10? Do you give yourself a 10? Why? Who was the best worker? Who was the least worker there that needs to do more next time? So they actually, some of them would say, yeah, I don't want to rat about my friends. And I'm like, no, this is not ratting. This is about having accountability. This is about you, kind of helping your friends, because what I do is the same kids are listed all the time. They're just like writing, and thinking that they will get the good grades, although they didn't do any work. I'm not going to want that. You don't want a freeloader. Okay, that's why I always say, when you do any groups, try to limit yourselves to 4. 4 should be your best limit, because the 5th one, the 6th one will be slugs. They'll be free riders. Okay, there's 4 people already working. I'm just gonna be riding free. Don't do that. Okay, so try 3, 4, a pair would be good. And whenever you're doing that, try to rearrange your classroom so that, for example, it's going to be a presentation day. Try to, to do your classroom where, for example, a curved C-shape double, and then another C-shape double on the other side, and there's a middle presentation part. Do that. Plan your seating arrangement based on what you're planning to do that day. Like, for example, when I do our book report, having book report is so boring. So I always have them to do a alternative to book report. So they have to do other things with it. Like they can do some kind of model of with the characters in it, and they have to show it and talk, and they always have to have a PowerPoint on it. And I have so many different things that I put, like you have to have go to Amazon about that book and see how many stars they are rated and all this, and little things like that, and how they connect themselves into the character. Which character do you identify the most with? So always connect that to to their own self. And which means that when you do a project, always have a task. I call them a task list, like a to-do list, like these are things that they need to cover. These are things that you need to have in your project. And then you have to have the rubric there at the end. And a lot of times I ask them, what else can we add here? For example, the content, I always put at least 50%, 60. If it's out of 100, 50 or 60 or 70 would have to be the content. Then the other ones could be creativity, could be 10 or 5, and spelling, grammar. I do not put too much on that because that's just grammar. I want the content, so 5. And then another thing. I ask them for our opinion. What else can we grade this for? What are the things that should matter on this one? So that when I grade it, I just put the whatever we're looking for, and I put the points, and I put the earned points, and then I add them up. That's their grade. It's very easy. And there's no secret about it. Anytime that you assign a project, they have 2 minutes. Yes, thank you. They know how they're graded, and they know what the outcome is. And a lot of times because I was there for a long time, I would keep like an exemplar. I would ask the kid that did so well, can I keep this as an example for next year's kid? And then I would give it to them after, and then I will have that again and again. Some of them actually left it with me, and I have it somewhere in my library. So anyway, all right. So that was what we got covered this week. I hope that you did learn one thing, and I always end up the last 2 minutes, and I know we're going to go a little over here because I want everybody to share one thing they learned. I want to put you in a spot, so I want to give you a process. Remember the wait time. After you ask them to do something, you have to wait. Then tell them, call the person, and then you wait again to allow them to process. So that's what I'm doing. So any volunteer or being voluntold to say one thing they learned, which means I'm going to be checking and see who has been paying attention, who will just have it on. All right, anybody?
Before I leave that, Doc.
Yes, Dr. Elvin, go ahead, start us.
Yes, it's just a review about the 4 propositions
5
of the national board. To start with the knowledge of students, knowledge of content. We have assessment, reflection, and collaboration.
Good job. Yeah, good. Yeah. And
the 3 level of teaching or thinking. Level 1, those who talk about oneself or people. Level 2, when you talk about current events or news. And then the 3rd level, when you want to solve the problem of the world, you talk about ideas.
Right, global. Oh, you're good. You got the 2 chunks there out of the way. Yay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Dr. Elvin kind of took your idea. You just need to give example. If he took your idea, I want you to just give example of an application. This is how it looks like in my classroom. This is who I collaborate. This is how I reflect. Those things like that. Dr. Elvin, that was awesome. Great job. And so anybody else? Oh, Dr. Alvin, can you call somebody? That's what I always do with my kids. So I don't have to call. They can call somebody. Remember the rule, you cannot do 3 boys at a time, or 3 males, 3 females in a row. Anybody?
Yes, Doc.
Oh, Girly, are you going to volunteer for Dr. Elvin? Dr. Elvin, are you going to call Girly?
Share something, Doc. I just want
to. Yes, Mom Girly.
Okay, Mom Girly, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Doc, I just wanted to share what I love the most about tonight's discussion. So the first thing is what you need to do when you will have an interview. And I don't need to go to details because I wanted to really emphasize the thing that we should be each other's cheerleader, because it's so nice to hear those lines from you. It kind of encouraged me to do good with my colleagues also. And also I love the chatter. I don't know if it's the right term, but I love the chatter box so much, which was actually an activity or a system of your sister, Ma'am Mylet Trotter, in her classroom. I'm planning to apply it in my classroom because most of my students right now, they are grade 3, and because of the pandemic they are not able to write properly, and I am training them to become to really have a good penmanship, and I wanted to like give them positive reinforcement, and I'm planning to apply that chatterbox if I'm not mistaken about the term. And then I also learned about the group members, that each group should have 3 to 4 members so that everybody could be of help. And I think
Yep.
that's
Yep. Nobody's a slug. Yay. let's give Dr. Elvin and Gurley what, a spider clap. Spider, 4 of them. No, 8. Yeah. Spider clap. Okay. Different ways. All right. Next. Okay, Gurley, do you mind calling somebody for me? This is a wrap up. Everybody gets to talk.
Okay. I think I want to call one of my colleagues in Aklupan Elementary School, our school guidance designate, Mrs. Maria Teresa Perejan.
Yeah, hey. And by the way, you don't say colleague, you say colleagues. Okay, colleagues. Yes. Yes. Okay, go ahead, Maria Teresa. That's 2 girls already, right? 2 women in a row. So we need to make sure the next one will have to be a male. Okay.
Hello, Doc.
There you go, Maria Teresa. What'd you learn?
I think one thing that I learned is, especially in a science subject, I need to differentiate my activities during the class discussion. I think that's one of the most important, so that children can learn the lesson well. I think that's
very good. Differentiation is always a good piece. And by the way, if you want, by the way, if you want to validate somebody, like for example, you want to say something in relations to what Dr. Elvin or Gurley or Maria Teresa did, just like Maria Teresa, you need to acknowledge them, or on top, or to add to what Gurley shared. You know, you have to share, teach your students that those are conversation starters, and those are validating words. You know, because, you know, you are acknowledging that person actually said that already. You do not want just to, you know, discount that person. You need to acknowledge that, hey, you said this, but on top of it, to add to it, this is what I think, you know, so do that. Okay. I want you to practice the conversation starter. Okay. So, so who would you call? Maria Teresa, who do you want to call? Not a woman. It has to be a male now.
Oh, wait.
So is Mike the only one left? Let me see. Let me think. Mike, are you the only male left? And Mike, you're in 2 places. You have the ship and you have the. Okay, Mike, what'd you learn this time? I know you are regular, so you might not. I might not have taught you anything at all, but anything that you want us to remind you know, the participants also.
Yes, Doc. This is what I've learned now. Since this is what I'm practicing. Since I'm outside in the Philippines, I have experience in teaching in the Philippine school and in one of the international school here. Always be careful with the situation of the students in informing the parents, and we must not like what Doc Elvin said, do not marites. That is one of the terms. Do not marites, not only the students,
but do not be a marites. Do not be a marites. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I like that. I like that you validated, Dr. Elvin.
Yes. And also, it like here in Qatar, wherein the culture is different, and as a preparation of our teaching in the US, we must be careful because we didn't know what is the culture of the other country, and unlike in the Philippines, we must be careful, and we should not jump into the conclusion of what happened to the students or what the teachers did.
Right.
We must be properly documented it, like in my interview. I shared to them that I have what we called, I forgot it.
Student log or what?
Yeah, it's a log. It's a log. I have that. It's anecdotal record of the students.
Yes, that's good.
Wherein I write what the achievements, what are the problems of the students. So every time if the parents or some of the teachers asking what happened or what's the status of the students,
you have that.
I can easily inform them the status or what is the problem of the students, and it's a black and white, and it will serve as our evidence.
Right.
Not only as a teacher, but also if the parents ask something about their children or their child, we cannot only based on what we have observed. I observe on your children, your child, that she or he is like that, but it's better to have a black and white.
Right. And you put a date and time on it. Yes. Yes. Very good. That's a good point. And parent-teacher conference, I always have a prepared form that I actually already put a note about each child. And that way I give that note to the parents. So that I already have a, child-specific comment there that I put. I love the way that your son or your daughter does this and all this. And then I might squeeze in something they need to improve, but a lot of times it's just bragging about their child. And so your anecdotal record, Mike, would be so helpful because that will be a good source of those comments for parent-teacher conference. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so call someone, please. The only women are left, so anybody. And you're doing this in your classroom, by the way. It also helps you who are the good friends, who are the people that go play outside, because they always call their friends, or our relatives in this matter. But yeah, so you get to know who are their friends. So Mike, are you gonna call somebody for me, or you want somebody to call for you? I know he's multitasking over there galore.
Okay, Doc. Let us try Sir Clark.
Okay, Clark. Oh, I didn't notice you there. Okay, there's my, yeah, okay.
So yeah, so once again, Doc, one of the things I've learned in our sharing today is that you're okay, yeah. Anything? Sorry, Doc. You want to say something, Doc? Or I'll continue.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, oh yeah. One of the things I like about our sharing today is the sandwich method that you've shared to us in introducing ourselves or giving feedback. I mean, I really love that. You say positive first, and then something to improve on, and then another positive thing about yourself or giving feedback about someone else. Yeah, so I usually do it. It's to my children. Yeah, every time that we evaluate their work, especially the artwork, and to my interns as well. Since I'm having some interns or student teachers who come over to help me out for 6 months. So this is the way I do feedback with them.
Very good.
So when I heard it from you, I felt like, yeah, it is really, it was like my method was approved.
It's validating to you. Yeah,
it's an effective way. And I believe it's an effective way also because they don't get the negative or something that they did wrong first, in which you encourage them first, and then you give something for them to, an opportunity for them to improve on that, and then bring some positive thoughts again. And it works every time.
Okay, hi Clark, an advice to you being a newlywed. You might want to avoid the middle one. Just do all positive this time. Okay.
Definitely.
Stage.
definitely.
And you know that what a secret to a happy marriage is that you say, "You're right." If
yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, dear. You're right. There's like this. So, but that's actually a code I shared with my husband, that when we agree to disagree, like we just cannot, because he thinks this different, I think different. So we would just say to each other, "You're right," and that is our way of saying that. Okay, we agree to disagree. But if we are saying that you're correct, we say, "Oh, you're accurate." That means I'm not telling you our code. I'm just saying, okay, I agree with you. That's right. But if I just like, okay, let's just get this over with. I do not want this conversation anymore. So we just say, "You're right, dear, you're right." And then we just smile.
You lose the argument, but you don't lose the person.
Exactly. Just like I would say, I love you too. You know, so when somebody said something mean to me one day and I was like, oh, I love you too. And this person was just like surprised. Really? You just said that, you know, to me? Like,
it changed the mood.
Yeah, it does change it. Yes, good, very good. All right, now who else do we want to call? Dina, I acknowledge Dina, you just showed up. So Dina's one of the Mike's buddies that are coming here soon, I hope. So I'm helping Miss Bonita this week to hopefully get your things together so we could mail it. So make sure that all four of you, I know Mike's, I think you're one of the ones that are finished too. I think there's one more we're waiting for of the four of you, paperwork wise. Okay, we have to send all of them separately or together. I have to look. I think separately. Every one of you had to have your own envelope because all your documents in there. And then I have to help Miss Bonita like check it off. Okay. So Dina, did you get anything? Did you show up anything to pick up something? I know it's a bunch of review.
Good morning, Doc, and good evening to each and every one of us. So, Doc, actually, my attention was caught with level 1, 2, and 3. That was explained also with other teachers here, like Sir Elvin. And the other thing, when you mentioned about, in addition to what you've said about if you are giving them a project-based assessment and the one that will stand out, you could ask the student if I could keep it so that I could use that one to the next batch, because I'm using that one with one of my subjects here. I am teaching health education also aside from science. So I had a topic like stages of life. Then I told them to make a booklet wherein they will put their picture when they were younger, like for your infancy, preschool, then school age, then teenager, because they're teenagers, and they will picture out how they will look like for adulthood and elderly. Then there are questions embedded for each stage. So I'm using that, I'm doing that. And the one that will have the best booklet, I'm acknowledging them in the class, and I've told them that, could I get this to show to the next batch? Yeah. So I could relate to what you said.
Very good. You did a very good job of applying what I just taught you about acknowledging others. Thank you. And I love that. I love that you connected that lesson to the students' lives. Anytime you do that, that's powerful. And you may also want to think about apps. There are some apps right now that makes you look young or older.
Yes, you may want to encourage.
Yeah, if you have an app, to try to use anything that there's an app for that. You know, they always say there's an app for that. Well, if there's no app for that, we can make the app ourselves and make money, because you can make apps now. There's an app to make apps. But anyway, yes. So that's very good. Thank you for sharing that, Dina. And it's very obvious that you're going to be a good teacher, because to show that, to connect it to the students, that's very, very powerful. So you're not just anybody could just like, oh, let me just do your lesson. You're actually making it special because it's connected to them. Anytime kids are level 1 a lot, you know, or level 2, it's about them. They're going to be happy. They're going to want to connect that to themselves, okay, or their family or friends. Okay. All right. So who do you want to follow you, Dina?
Her name here is iPhone.
Who is that said that's an iPhone? Who is that? Yeah. Who is the iPhone girl? Who's the iPhone girl? Right next to Marissa San Diego.
The one wearing the yellow shirt.
Yeah. Do you mind changing your name from iPhone to your name?
I'm sorry, Doc. I think it was me. Is that right? I see my name though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I wasn't here for quite a long time, Doc. I'm by the way, I'm Jessica from South Carolina, Doc.
Katid, yeah.
Yes, Doc.
You've been posting some really cool videos. I've been watching you, like you dancing over there, like outside your
Yes.
And your husband's there. Yes. Okay. Yeah, share with us about what you're learning, because you're new here too.
I couldn't relate to like the actual subject, Doc, because I was assigned to teach an elective class, so I don't have a lot of students. So currently I'm not having like any problems with classroom management because I only have 5 to 7 students.
You're not special ed though, right? You're not special ed.
No, Doc, I'm English.
But
I'm class with Christine.
You're one of the lucky ones then. Because it's like you don't have as many kids and you can focus on them content-wise.
Yeah.
And then you can do the discipline. That's, you consider yourself lucky because some of them are having 20 plus kids.
Yeah. That is why I just joined recently because I got really busy with everything. And I miss joining the Zoom orientations every Saturday.
Well, good.
So, I teach creative writing and journalism, but I teach 7th, 8th, and 10th grade. And my school is really supportive, but I couldn't really tell you the standards because since it's an elective class, it's a new course that they are doing. So it's up to me on how I will teach the lesson.
Golly, you have academic freedom. You don't have any. Oh my God, you just died and went to heaven too.
No pacing, Doc.
Yeah, no wonder she's like over there dancing after school.
No stress.
That's right. And your husband is there cooking for you. Oh my goodness, we're so blessed. Yeah. Did you do J2 for him immediately, like at the same time as you, or later?
We came here together, Doc.
I think if you can do that financially, I think that's a really good thing to do. It's just sometimes it's hard for us there in the Philippines to be able to do that financially. A lot of us would like to kind of look at it here first and then bring your husband here. Maybe that's what Leslie's doing, and kid. Yeah.
But with basis, Doc, I was really shocked that because they mentioned that they will be we will buy the tickets for us too, and they will reimburse the ticket upon arrival. But when they asked for like the receipt, since they mentioned that we got really cheap tickets, so they reimbursed the tickets for the both of us.
Oh my gosh, you're blessed. That school seems to be really generous and has the money. Is that mostly white or black or Hispanic or Latinx? What kind of population do you have?
My school is really small, so it's mostly black, but the black one they attend to the English classes, the ELA. But with my students, it's most of them are white.
Okay, they're the ones that's above and beyond, that will go above and beyond. So they're not you have the higher one, kind of more pre-AP ones. Then because it's they elect to be there. So that's always the ones that are going to be interested in your subject, which is the best situation for you. So you like America so far?
Yes, Doc. I'm really happy.
Well, when are you coming to Arkansas and see me?
Yeah, I want to see Christine. I miss her, and lately she's been like really emotional, and I always message her that if you are near, I would sleep over and come over.
She has her support there, but it's just one of those adjustments, culture shock for her, I think. And so you're gonna have, all of you will have that. But she just, loaded with all these athletes that do not like to behave themselves. But it's being looked at and it's being handled. I involved the superintendent, I involved the principal, the coaches were involved. So hopefully that will get better for her. The nice thing about the school is that the superintendent is so thoughtful. She would until you can get it handled, she will provide another person there for you. So he's been putting another teacher or a somebody to help you handle the discipline. And then they also get reported to the coaches, and the coaches would ask them to do an extra run or some extra task. So they don't like that either. So it's being handled, and I told her not to be discouraged. And that is, by the way, for everyone, that's going to be something you go through. It doesn't matter how good your situation is. You're going to, Leslie's over there. Leslie was over there having an upset week the first week. So anyway, I've not seen anybody that just happy, whatever. Maybe Jessica was, but I know everybody's have that point the first week anyway, or the first month, that is something so different. Like it's not the Philippines anymore. You're not in the Philippines anymore, and you're gonna wish that, oh my gosh, I thought it was hard because I thought my students were misbehaving in the Philippines. That's nothing. Is that right? That's nothing compared to what they do here. Yeah. And what I'm finding is also that some of the teachers here that are already here, they're afraid of the students. They're afraid to like reprimand them. One of them actually said to me, I'm so afraid that the student will find out where we live and then hurt me. And I'm like, don't ever have that feeling, because if you're acting like that, if you feel that way, you're gonna look that way, that you're afraid of them, and they were just gonna eat your lunch. Okay, that means not literally eat your lunch, but they're just gonna, they're just gonna be abusing that situation, that this is a teacher that's weak. So we're gonna, we're just gonna not behave ourselves because we're gonna see how mean this teacher can get. And that's what Leslie was being told, that quit being nice, because we are nice. We are very pleasant folks. That's just part of us, right? But you have to show them that if you do something that I'm not happy with, you're gonna see that I can get mad. I care about you. I'm not mad at you, but I'm mad at the behavior that you're showing me. And I want it to change. What is your plan in changing it? And I always talk to them, outside my classroom, very respectfully, never in front of others. Okay. So yeah, Jessica, thank you so much for attending, girl. I appreciate you so much. I've been following you, so I've been like jealous for the other, for the other teachers here for you, because it sounds like you have a very, very good situation there.
Yeah, but I think I'll be my culture shock moment will come in late.
You're having some kind of negative thoughts right now?
No. Because I am not currently in culture shock. Maybe if they give me like the English class, that's the time that I will be shocked.
Yeah, it might be honeymoon stage for you. They want you to like it, and then giving you, remember the stages is like honeymoon, and then later on they'll give you the conflict part. And then that way you can work together then. Yeah. So yeah, you might be there. Sounds like a very wise administrator though, to put you in a spot where it's elective, it's fun, it's small number, and that will really help you become successful. And I think that's very smart. I think if I was running a school and I had international teachers coming in, I would do something like that to make sure that it is a good situation. It's not something that they are upset a lot, because it's already a lot to be taken out of the country, 10,000 miles away. And so, to give them a pleasant experience is a way to let them stay, because I always I'm very blunt and frank with the superintendents. I'm like, you don't want to leave. You don't want your teacher to leave, because they can leave. If they wanted to leave, they can just tell their visa sponsor, and they can actually make it happen for them. So they're not like have to be stuck with any school. They're already here. They can transfer that to another school. And I'm not encouraging Arkansas teachers to do that, because I will be very disappointed. But of course, if you're unhappy, I will not have you be stuck. Okay. I'm always going to be rooting for you to be successful, because, life is too short, guys. Life is too darn short to be miserable in anything, in any job or any marriage. Anything. I've been married 35 years happily, so I can say that. But anyway, okay. So thank you so much, Jessica. And who else? Who else have we not talked to? Because we need to stop. I know Dr. Elvin is like over there looking at the time. So Girly, you've shared already, right? And Aideen, did you want to share something?
Yes,
or Roseanne is next?
Hello, everybody, and good evening, Doc, again. What I enjoyed so much in our discussions today are like when you shared about learning stations, because I really wanted to do that. It's just because our classroom is not wide to cater those learning stations. Yeah, but then, I learned that before during our PDs, but then I just cannot realize that. But I hope I can do that. I'd really like to have that in my classroom for grade 2. Yeah.
You can ask a table. You ask for a table if there's an extra table somewhere. You can just put a table for your station. Yeah.
And also like the one of the core propositions, like assessment in the beginning and in the end, like doing the KWL, like assessing the what they know, what they want to know, and what they learn, something like that. I tried that in just last week, I guess. I forgot.
How did it
was
go?
last week. The students, they were not so familiar with it, and it's like I said, okay, because my grade 2 students, they don't know how to write a sentence very well. So I said, okay, you give your idea, you draw, if you like, it's science class. So yeah, what you want, what you know about, it was about food chain and food web. Yeah. So food chain, what do you know about food chain? Yeah, like that. So I let them write first, and then of course they knew about that when they were in grade 1. So they should remember something like that. And then yeah, I folded the paper into 3 parts. So what they know and what they want to know in the middle, and then at the end we have 3 classes for science per week. So at the end, so I let them write there or draw the actual food chain that they wanted to, because I grouped them also into 3 members in each group. And then with that, I told them that you can actually make your own food web, like putting together your own food chain like that. So because food web is like a network of food chains, right? So I told them you can do that. So actually there were some kids who really made it, that put together their food chains, and they were creative. Like they even put their names, that this is me and this is my classmate. And then they put like arrows in there. So I was happy that there's actually one of them who really did that. Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you for trying that. That's good. This is it reminds me of the folds. Did you do? Did you do a taco fold like this?
Yes. Okay. I showed them that.
Okay. There's also a hot dog fold. There's the hot dog fold. So I teach my students that, so I can tell them I want you to do a hot dog fold, or I would say I want you to do a taco fold. So they know already when we do any activity that, okay, do a taco fold this time or whatever. So a hamburger fold will be the one that's short. So anyway, so thank you so much for doing that.
So I just did the 3 folds like that. And then I was happy that at the end one group among my class really did that very well. And also, Doc, I want to share with you, like, to top up with what you shared with us earlier, like the reward for the students. We're actually doing it in the school. Like we call it scholar dollar
nice.
reward. Yeah, like every time they're caught doing good actions like that, so like they're obeying rules or they're really participating in class, we give them scholar dollar. So
that's
sometimes
cool.
it's like $1, $2, and then like at the end of the quarter, like this October we'll have our first quarter, at the end of the first quarter, and then so we will open our store, and then they will buy things that they like in there through their dollars.
Oh my gosh, that is
so
so
we're actually
neat.
doing that already.
Sounds like you are in a good school, Eden. Yeah.
Really, like my students are so excited with that, and they said, oh, I already have $200.
Oh yeah, but see, that teaches them value of money too, so that's
yes, Doc. And then I was also talking, I also have my teacher assistant with me, and then we're talking like, okay, we have to make the prices of our items will be like $500 so that they really have to work for it. Something like that. So
very good. It's very motivational. It's very motivational, and anytime that you do that, it's very, it helps the kids. I even had like Dr. Elvin, I even had a principal that did that school-wide, and she put like a little folder, a little pocket outside there. They had a pocket already outside their classrooms for their lunch count or whatever. So he would, if there's a child there, like passing by like lining up, for example, in the hallway, and they're really, really good, he would just put like that scholar dollar example, whatever they call it in the school, in their pocket chart. And so they have a class one that they had earned. And then like if there's somebody that was helping somebody else in the playground without being asked, just kind of kindness act, then they would actually find out, give them an individual money, but then they also give the class dollar one too. So then they have a contest with which classroom had the most act of kindness kind of type thing, that they have earned for that quarter. So very good idea. I like it a lot. So you always have great ideas, Eden. So I can't wait for you to come here in America and apply those too. So Rose, how about Rose?
I'm looking forward.
So I do hope so. Okay, Rose, what did you gain? Anything or not?
Hi, Doc. Good morning. Good evening,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
I am just so happy seeing Jessica. Very happy also, Doc.
We're jealous, right? She's just over there
Yeah.
rubbing it in, rubbing it in.
Yeah.
I'm
I
kidding.
just keep on saying sana all.
Yeah, it will happen, I swear. We have your list is all over in the state of Arkansas and all the surrounding areas. And Jessica, how did you get your name? Did you just go to schoolspring.com and found them? How did you get hired? Jessica, are you still there? We lost her. Anyway, I wonder how she got hired. I wonder if she got, some of your Visa sponsor would actually place you, and some of them you have to be proactive by looking for it yourself, because you cannot just wait for them to do it for you, because they may have hundreds of people they're helping. Okay, just like I have close to 200 I'm helping. And so what I do is I send it to as many administrators I have. It's all in the administrators in Arkansas, and now I'm sending it all over the states. So if you get contacted by the other states, they may have my list. Okay. All right. So Jessica, we're losing her. So how about Ferby? Did you learn anything, Ferby?
Of course, ma'am.
Yeah, what did you learn?
Yes. One of the things that I've learned today is that we always use positive words in updating parents about their children, because it's very important to not shock them with some behavioral problem with their children, because I think they will feel bad. And as a parent, you don't want to hear some negative traits yet, but make it positive first, and then make it slowly. Yes, like
Very good.
I did it now. I do it.
Oh, I'm so glad it validates your practice. Well, I call that also emotional deposit versus emotional withdrawal. So that's when we call our kids at the beginning of the year and brag about their student before they even get in trouble. So we said, oh, I'm so happy to be so-and-so, your child's teacher. I'm looking forward to, to be your partner in education and helping whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing you or meeting you. And then that way, when you do an emotional withdrawal later, because they get in trouble, you already got some deposits in. Okay, so let's do some deposits instead of withdrawal immediately. That you're gonna be negative. you're gonna be writing a bad check. Yeah. Okay, I like that point. Yes, good point. Anybody else? How about Marissa? You want to share, Marissa?
Hi, Doc. Good evening.
Yes.
Good morning there. Good evening,
Morning.
everyone. Yes. Maybe one of the things that struck me the most tonight was being careful with who you vent to with you're the confident that you choose it very well. Actually, like you, Doc, my confidant is also my husband. However, I am also guilty that we sometimes talk in front of my son.
Yeah, be careful about that. Unless you're bragging about somebody, and it's fine. But if it's something that could be negative, don't.
Although, because we sometimes do that during dinner, the highs and lows of the day, because we want to involve him also in sharing his experience in class.
I guess you will know as a parent, as a teacher, which one you can do and not do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but although sometimes, of course, our intentions were, not bad, but yeah, we really have to be careful, because we wouldn't know, something might happen, and we don't want to be in trouble also. So this is for the good of my son, myself, and also
Yeah, and
for
sometimes you have kids that are stressed already, and if you're gonna add some more stress, and that's when they said in Japan, for example, a bunch of their suicide rates of the people that are the age is under 25. And so you do not want the teenager all the way to that age to be stressed more than what they already do. I think right now it's so stressful, especially with social media, when some of them would see a lot of negative things, and then they would take it as personal, and then they would, you don't know that they're having those issues, because a lot of times, especially when they're teenagers, they don't really share with us much. They share with their friends more than us. And so you don't want to add to that. Okay. So yeah, very good point. Very good reflection there in your part. Yeah. So anybody else? Because I don't ever want to miss someone and you want to talk and you didn't get to, because, and I know we're going over, but at least we're not going to the 3 hours yet. I'm so glad we had this premium already where I don't have to go back in and out. So anybody else? And in my classroom, I don't ever force kids. If they don't want to do it, you can share with me later. You know, like some of you really want to, just text me. I mean, message me if you have any question. Yes. Was asking me, Farvi?
Rose and Doc.
Rose, yeah. What did you say, Rose?
With regards to your learning stations, Doc, I am just very curious about the fund. Are you the one who is spending the money for your learning stations, or you have the support from the school?
Both. I have Goodwill. I went to Goodwill a lot. Your money goes a long, long way. My husband helped me, and then the principal, I was always close to my administrator, so I would always kind of beg. But we have $500. Every teacher has $500 to spend in your classroom here in the US. So you can cover that with that. But of course, I always got extra because I go, we have this yard sales and garage sales here. In fact, in Salem right now, I wish you all, Abby and Leslie, were here because we are having a citywide yard sale. That means a bunch of yard sale everywhere. Like they're selling things for 25 cents, 50 cents, 10 cents. I mean, that's what the time to get your things for your treasure chest. So yeah, that's a good question. That
until when, ma'am?
Huh?
Until when?
Yeah. We do that. We spend money on our kids. I mean, I buy shoes, I buy clothes for my kids in Goodwill and give it to them, especially when I see somebody that have shoes that are like same shoe and dirty and looks like it's about to fall apart. And I always ask the parents, is it okay if I give this, whatever? I don't say I get it from Goodwill. I would just say my son or my whatever, I would claim it from the family. If it's okay, if it's okay that I would give it to you. He's been doing so well in school. I would kind of make it like a reward, because some parents have this pride thing. Like, what do you think of me? I cannot support my own kid. They might feel that way. And that is a very, common feeling. I was very poor. And so I know how, that feels that, so you have to be delicate on that. But it should not stop you from helping your student, especially here in America when it's cold, for example, and you see that a student did not have a coat that's thick enough. I've seen it a lot where I see a lot of coats that are not enough, like they are going to be cold if they're wearing that coat. So I would encourage them to, like, in a community, we have this angel tree. An angel tree is like a Christmas tree full of angel, like an angel shape thing that they cut, and they would put information of a child number 18 needs a coat this size, shoes this size, and whatever. And in any community, I would always get 3 or 4 every year, and I would you wrap it in a present and you give it to number 18 whatever, and you put that tag in, and then they will give it. So I would always like turn in their names so that they would get, through the counselor does that. So the counselor, you tell the counselor that, hey, when they ask for names from the school, can you please include this child? And then you get, the counselor would get the details about the sizes and so on. But there's always ways, here in America, we always use the counselor. Like if you see a child that's really poor and they don't have bath, like they stink and it's not just coming in because maybe they didn't have water, or maybe they got cut off with water. And one of them, even like in a neighboring town, they didn't even have running water. They have to go to the river. And so the creek. And so anyway, so once you know that, you refer them to the counselor. Counselors in America, they have these closets with different sizes of clothes and shoes. And so when they have to give it to the kids right now, they will just go to that closet and they let the kids choose. So we have those kind of help. And also in the community, there's also places like churches. And our church, for example, Church of Christ, we have like this agape room where there's a big building and it has all kinds of canned goods and clothes and everything you need in the house. And they could go in there and get stuff for free. So there's a lot of help here in America. I know, I wish that happened in the Philippines. We have ukay there, that little, what do you call it in Tagalog? But ukay, coming from America, but we still have to pay for that. But here is free to help our kids. So there's always some resources. And sometimes as a teacher, you may be the source for parents, especially the new parents that just moved in here. Now you have parents, they call them a 90-day cycle parents, a rental. That means that they're going to find a place, they're going to rent. They're going to pay for the first month and the last month, and they're going to pay another month for your deposit. So you actually, when you rent something, you have to multiply the rent by 3 times. That's what most people would want, because they want the first and last month and then the deposit. Anyway, so they would have the 90 days, they're the 3 months, and then they move again. They would like not pay for a month or 2, and then they would move again. And so that is a cycle of poverty here. And that happens. So you will have kids that are going from one place to another, just moving. So because of that, okay. All right, anybody else? Because I know we are really not good in time right now, but I would rather have you wrap up and your learning covered and not have to worry about the time by then, because to me, that is that's your way of remembering what you learned, because that is your anchoring time. You anchor what you learned. Okay, and right away, I'm so impressed that you all always apply it. Like when you share that you have already done it, or you're validating somebody, and try to validate your students always. Oh my gosh, when they present, oh my gosh, please acknowledge them. If you're having a contest, have the first, second, third. I used to have like a little step stool, and you know how the Olympic is, you have the tallest. I used to have that, like a tallest one here, and then I would do like another level on the right and left, and they would be, and have this little, I order those medals, and we actually have a medal ceremony. And anyway, and so yeah, I would, especially on a year that they do Olympics, I do stuff like that. I would have like in the math, I would do, and this is not a good practice now according to research. We had a 1-minute speed test in math for math fluency. And now the research is saying you should not do that, because you have kids like dyslexic kids and other kids. That's not good, because it's pressuring them. And so, but back then I didn't know any better. So I just did that. And then they have to graph the results, and then they have to beat their own score. And then those, the highest growth or whatever, I would do a medal ceremony for them, on Fridays. But anyway, because they practice every day. And I sent a note to the parents saying, hey, they have everybody's got microwaves. So I said, hey, if you don't have a timer, use your microwave. You put your potatoes in, you wash it and you stack it with a fork, and then you wrap it and you put it for 1 minute, and then or 3 minutes, whatever it is, I said. And then that way your child will be doing the work, and then when you get done, your child can have snacks, the potatoes, you put cream cheese or whatever in there. But anyway, so yeah, you do things like that in order to involve the parents, to quote somebody, who was it that said about parent involvement. That's really good. Okay, so that's all I have. And unless somebody else would just raise your hand, feel free. If you did not get to talk and you don't want to talk, just email me your thoughts. I don't want you to be frustrated, like I wish I got to do this. All right, well, have a great night, and have a great week next week. And I'm looking forward to seeing Abby and company. I don't know what Leslie decided. All right, so see you later. And I will, what was it? What was the Queen of England? Oh, the England royalty. How do they do it? How do they do it? They did something with their hand. Oh yeah, like this, right? Okay, see you later next week. In honor of the Queen. Okay, all right, see you then, and I will send you the recording.
Okay? Have a great week.
Bye.
Hey guys, bye. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Have
thank
a
you for
great weekend,
attending.
everybody.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Good night.